Chapter 478. Jia Shirhan said. Sisterly, you don't know that everything he makes is delicious. Even ordinary white rice porridge is delicious. I don't know what he did to you. You help him with everything. How can a bowl of porridge taste good? Li Meiyu said as she put a spoonful of white rice porridge into her mouth. Suddenly, her beautiful big eyes widened. The fragrance and natural aroma of the white rice porridge quickly occupied her taste buds, making her feel so delicious that she wanted to shout. After taking a bite, she could no longer stop eating. She ignored Qin Haodong and began to attack the breakfast in front of her. Jia Shirhan smiled and also began to eat. The first time she tasted the food personally cooked by Qin Haodong, she was like this. After breakfast, Qin Haodong and Li Meiyu left the villa together and rushed to school. Today was the first day of school, so they couldn't be late. After leaving the concert venue, Zhou Xinju returned to the Zhou family's manor. She handed the female killer over to the security department for interrogation, and then hurried to the Zhou family's private hospital. As the richest top family in Shanghai, the Zhou family owned a luxurious manor that ordinary people could not imagine. At the same time, it was also equipped with a private hospital. There were the world's most advanced medical equipment, and the world's best doctors there. Her breast cancer was diagnosed here. As a private hospital, there were doctors on duty every day. Today the director Jiang Dongna happened to be on duty. When she saw Zhou Xinju enter the door, she immediately greeted her. Miss, your illness really can't be delayed any longer. You must have surgery as soon as possible. If you wait for the cancer cells to spread, even immortals can't save you. She graduated from the most famous medical school in M country and had a double doctorate in medicine. Now, she was both the director of the private hospital and Zhou Xinju's attending doctor. She was very clear about Zhou Xinju's condition of breast cancer. Zhou Xinju said, Dr. Jiang, give me another chest examination right now. Miss, didn't you just check it the day before yesterday? There's no need to check it too frequently. Zhou Xinju raised her hand to interrupt her and said, Don't talk nonsense. I naturally have my reasons for asking you to check it. As the actual person in charge of the Zhou family, her every movement had the aura of a superior. Well, if the results of the examination are the same, I hope you can cooperate with us as soon as possible. Seeing that Zhou Xinju insisted, Jiang Dongna naturally couldn't say anything more. She immediately gathered people and began to check Zhou Xinju's breasts again. The private hospital had good equipment and high efficiency. In less than 20 minutes, the examination results were sent to Jiang Dongna. Zhou Xinju asked eagerly, Director, what's the result? Right now, she felt that her body couldn't be any better. Her chest had never felt so comfortable before. But everything still had to be based on the results of the examination. Eldest miss, don't take any chances. This kind of disease can't be cured by itself. Only the surgery can. Jiang Dongna looked at the examination materials in her. Jiang Dongna, and suddenly she froze. Zhou Hao. Li Zhou. She turned her head and said to the nurse next to her. Are you mistaken? Li Zhou said. Jiang Zhou the result. The little nurse said innocently, Director, it can't be wrong. Only Miss Qin had a checkup today. Even if we wanted to get the results of other people, we couldn't. Zhou, the nurse, Zhou Ti say. Li is Zhou. But this result isn't right? Jiang Dongna opened the drawer and took out the results of Zhou Xinju's examination the day before yesterday. She compared them and said, There were malignant tumors on both sides of the breast. Why are they all gone now? Zhou Xinju grabbed her hand and asked excitedly, President Jiang, are you sure? Has the tumor really disappeared? According to the results of the examination, the tumor does not exist, and his body can't be any better. But I think there must be something wrong, maybe a malfunction in the equipment or... Before she finished speaking, she saw Zhou Xinju rushing out of the hospital excitedly. Zhou Xinju was very clear about the reason. It was not that there was a problem with the equipment, but that the little doctor had really cured her. She ran all the way back to her villa, causing the surrounding people to stop and wonder what had happened to the usually calm young lady. When she returned to her room, she rushed into the bathroom and closed the door behind her. Then she started crying in front of the mirror. The legendary tears of joy were exactly what she looked like now. Ever since she knew that she had breast cancer, she hadn't been able to eat well or sleep well in the past few days. The thought of cutting off her 2 small breasts made her head feel like it was about to explode. In the past few days, Zhou Xinju had suffered too much grievance and too much pressure. Now everything was over. She had finally become a normal woman. After crying enough, she turned on the shower head and took a good shower from head to toe. After drying her body with a bath towel, she looked at herself in the mirror. She was extremely beautiful from head to toe. The only flaw was that her chest was too flat, which did not make her look like a woman at all. Over the years, she had tried countless ways to enhance her breasts. She had eaten countless papayas and used countless high-end breast enhancement drugs. But in the end, there was still no movement. She had even considered breast enhancement surgery. But before she could muster up the courage, she was found to have breast cancer. Now it was all in the past. Qin Haodong not only cured her breast cancer, but also gave her 2 breast enhancement and body-shaping pills. With the magical medical skills of this little doctor, she believed that the effect of these 2 pills would definitely not be too bad. Thinking of this, she took the small jade bottle and poured the 2 small pills, one red and one black, into her palm. But at this moment, the bathroom door was pushed open with a bang. Only then did Zhou Xinju remember that she had forgotten to lock the bathroom door. She hadn't put on her clothes yet. When she saw someone suddenly break in, she was shocked. Her wrist shook slightly, and the small red pill slipped out. It happened to be mixed into the entrance of the sewer. She quickly touched the remaining black pill in her hand and covered her body with the bath towel. She looked back at the door and saw a beautiful woman in a business suit standing at the door. This person was her assistant and her best friend Lu Yu. The 2 of them had always had a good relationship. Zhou Xinju patted her chest and said with annoyance, "You damn girl. You didn't even knock on the door when you came in. You scared me to death." "Who are we? Are you afraid that I'll see it? Or I'll take it off for you to see." As best friends, the 2 often took a bath together, so they didn't care about Zhou Xinju's appearance. "I don't want to see it. You show off to me every time." Although Lu Yu was a little worse than Zhou Xinju in terms of appearance, she had a good figure. She was curvy and her towering chest made countless men drool at the sight of it. Lu Yu laughed and said, "What can I do? I was born like this. I can't keep a low profile even if I want to. In fact, this thing is also very annoying. It's especially uncomfortable when you exercise. Sometimes I envy you. You can run and jump whenever you want. There's nothing cumbersome about you. All right, don't show off to me." Zhou Xinju glared at her fiercely. "You didn't rush here just to show off your big breasts to me, did you?" Lu Yu said, "Of course not. I heard that you went to the hospital for a checkup as soon as you came back. Are you sick?" "It's nothing. I just did a random checkup." Although the 2 of them had a good relationship, Zhou Xinju never told Lu Yu that she had breast cancer out of self-esteem. "It's good that you're fine. I was afraid that you would get sick. I'm in such good health. How could I get sick?" Zhou Xinju said, "Go back quickly. I still have to change clothes." "Do you still have to change clothes behind my back? What haven't I seen?" Lu Yu said as she pulled off the bath towel on Zhou Xinju's body. Then she ran out with a smile. Zhou Xinju locked the bathroom door and let out a sigh of relief. "That damn girl. She scared me to death. She made me lose a pill." She went to the sewer and made sure that the pill had completely rolled in. It was impossible to get it back. She held the remaining black pill in her palm. Although there was only one left, and the effect would be greatly reduced, it was better than nothing. Thinking of this, she poured a glass of water and swallowed the black pill. She went back to bed. Originally, she wanted to see if there would be any changes in her chest. She didn't know if it was because she was too tired or because the pill had a calming effect, but she soon fell asleep. The next morning, when she woke up in a daze, she vaguely felt that there seemed to be something on her chest. When she reached out to touch it, her eyes suddenly widened, and she was no longer sleepy. "Oh my God, I finally have breasts. I'm no longer a flat princess. I'm no longer an airport." Zhou Xinju clearly felt what her right hand had touched. It was at least an A cup. It was not too big among women, but it was much better than before. She jumped out of bed excitedly. As soon as she arrived in front of the mirror, she wanted to appreciate her changed appearance. But in an instant, her face became ugly, and it was as ugly as it could be. In the mirror, her right chest had stood up. Compared with the previous flat chest, there was a huge change. However, there was no movement on the left side. It was exactly the same as before. As a result, there was a huge gap between the two chests. One side was high and the other side was low, which was neither fish nor fowl. What's going on? What's going on? I've become a monster. How can I go out and meet people? Looking at the deformed chest in the mirror, Zhou Xinju almost wanted to die. It was better to have a flat chest. If she became a monster, how could she go out and meet people? No, I'm going to call him. He must have a way. Zhou Xinju hurriedly found Qin Haodong's phone number and called him. As soon as Qin Haodong and Li Meiyu arrived at the school gate, the cell phone in their pocket rang. He glanced at the caller ID and remembered that it was Zhou Xinju's phone number, so he pressed the answer button. As soon as the phone was connected, he heard the other side say eagerly, "Dr. Qin, something happened. Something big happened here." "Don't worry, take your time." Qin Haodong asked in surprise. "What's wrong? Haven't you been cured?" He didn't think it was possible. He had given Zhou Xinju a full body examination yesterday. Her breast cancer had been cured, and there were no other diseases in other parts of her body. "No, I've been cured, but, Zhou Xinju hesitated for a long time. But in the end, she was too embarrassed to say it. "What's wrong? Hurry up, I'm going to school soon." Zhou Xinju gritted her teeth and said, "It's just that I took your breast enhancement and body shaping elixir. The right side has changed, but the left side is still the same. Now I've become a monster." Chapter 479. Speaking of this, Zhou Xinju choked with sobs. Originally, she was just a flat-chested woman, which was barely acceptable. But now her breasts were both high and low. What was going on? "Don't cry. Let's think of a way together." Qin Haodong thought for a moment and said, "It's impossible. Did you only take a black pill, and not the red one?" Zhou Xinju choked with sobs and said, "I did only take a black one. The red one fell into the sewer." Qin Haodong patted his forehead and said, "This kind of breast enhancement and body shaping pill must be taken together. The black pill is for the right breast, and the red pill is for the left breast. You only took a black one, so the effect is naturally on the right breast." Yesterday, he originally wanted to tell Zhou Xinju about this, but he had just said the beginning when he encountered Hao Lingling's assassination, so he forgot about it. I thought that if I lost one, the effect would be a little worse. I didn't expect it to be like this. Zhou Xinju said nervously, "Dr. Qin, what should I do? Help me find a way. I can't be like this all my life. How can I go out and meet people?" Qin Haodong said, "Don't worry. I'll give you another red pill. Just take it." "But I don't have time now. Ask someone to go to the Department of Chinese Medicine of Shanghai Medical College to get the medicine from me. I'm a freshman." "Dr. Qin, thank you. I'll send someone there now." Zhou Xinju hung up the phone. Knowing that there was a way to remedy her situation, she felt much more at ease. She made a phone call and called Lu Yu over. Seeing Zhou Xinju lying on the bed covered with a quilt, Lu Yu said in surprise, "Why are you still sleeping in at this time? There's an important guest to see in the morning. You have to hurry up and prepare." Zhou Xinju said, "I'm not feeling well now. I don't want to see anyone. Help me cancel that appointment." "What's wrong? What's wrong with you?" Lu Yu sat at the head of the bed and asked with concern. "I told you that there was something wrong with you when you went to the hospital yesterday. What's wrong with you? Why are you still hiding it from me?" "I'm really fine. I'll be fine after a day of rest." Zhou Xinju said, "Help me do something now. Go to the Chinese medicine department of Jiangnan Medical University and find a freshman named Qin Haodong. Bring back what he gave you." After hearing what she said, Lu Yu's expression changed. "Xinju, are you pregnant? The college freshman? Is it because that kid doesn't want to take responsibility? Do you want me to help you vent your anger?" "Nonsense, what are you talking about?" Zhou Xinju's face turned red. Hong said, "I'm not pregnant, and there's nothing wrong with me. You just need to fetch something for me." You're still denying it? I can tell from your face. Actually, you don't have to be nervous. It's not a big deal to be pregnant now. If that kid doesn't want to abort it, it's fine. But you have to be careful in the future. Even if you want to find a man, you can't find this kind of irresponsible college student. Speaking of this, she suddenly stopped. She stared at Zhou Xinju and said, "You're a freshman and now you're pregnant. Did you two get together when he was in high school? Xinju, isn't your taste a bit too heavy? You won't even let off little boys? You're the one who's pregnant." Zhou Xinju had an impulse to go crazy. After thinking for a moment, she knew that if she didn't make things clear, her best friend might do something else. So she told her everything about her encounter with Qin Haodong the day before. In the end, she lifted the quilt and revealed her chest. She said, "It's all your fault. If you hadn't suddenly broken in yesterday, I would have taken 2 pills together, and there would be no problem now." "Oh my God, it's really so amazing." Lu Yu stared at Zhou Xinju's chest and said, "Are you sure it's not a surgical breast enhancement?" Zhou Xinju said with annoyance, "Don't talk nonsense. I've already made it clear to you. You must bring me the medicine this morning. Otherwise, I really can't go out." "Okay, wait for me. I'll go now." Lu Yu also realized the seriousness of the matter. She left the Zhou family's manor in a hurry and rushed to the Shanghai Medical College. Qin Haodong and Li Meiyu entered the medical college together. Not long after they walked out, they saw Ji Fubao and Tian Buoguang running over. When they got close, they sandwiched Qin Haodong in the middle. They put their arms around his shoulders and whispered in his ear, "Boss, how are you? Does your waist hurt? Does your leg hurt?" Qin Haodong said, "What are you two doing? Why should my waist hurt? Why does my leg hurt?" Tian Buoguang said with a wicked smile, "Boss, you're the king of picking up girls. You haven't even slept in the dormitory for a night, but you took your sister-in-law out to get a room. Don't tell me that you talked about ideals and life at night. We're all adults. Didn't you do something that adults should do?" Ji Fubao also said with a sinister smile, "Boss, tell me the truth. How many times did you do it in one night? 3 times or 5 times? What are you thinking about? We're pure classmates." Qin Haodong was so angry about the mistake that morning. He raised his hand and gave each of them a knock on the head. Ji Fubao covered his head and shouted, "Boss, why are you so angry? Could it be that you have some kind of problem?" Qin Haodong said, "Okay, let's be serious. Let's go to class." Tian Buoguang said, "Boss, there's no need to be so nervous. Today is the first day of school. According to the school's schedule, the class meeting will be held in the morning, and the opening ceremony will be held at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. The military training will start tomorrow morning." When it came to military training, Ji Fubao's face suddenly turned bitter. He said with a sad face, "I have a wish. It will rain every day for these 10 days. The heavier the better." Tian Buoguang said with a smile, "I heard a rumor yesterday. This time, the military training will be conducted by the Special Forces of the Shanghai Military Region. The Special Forces will be our instructors. The intensity of the military training will definitely be much more intense than before." "Oh my God, are you even going to let me live?" Ji Fubao almost fainted from crying on the road. Looking at the fat man's painful appearance, Li Meiyu said with a smile, "Fatty, is the military training so terrible? It's only 10 days, and you can take this opportunity to lose weight." Ji Fubao said with a bitter face, "If I were as thin as you, I wouldn't be afraid of the military training. Think about it. You and the boss are not as heavy as me. During the military training, it's equivalent to the boss carrying a bag of noodles on his back. Do you think it's easy for me?" After hearing what he said, they laughed together. It was true. The fat man's body was really too heavy. While talking and laughing, they arrived at the classroom of the Department of Chinese Medicine. Compared with other majors in the Shanghai Medical College, there were fewer students in the Department of Chinese Medicine. It was said that there were 39 students enrolled, but only 2 girls. The ratio of yin and yang was very imbalanced. After arriving at the classroom, Ji Fubao directly took a few people to occupy the last row of seats. In his words, the last row was the seat of the commander-in-chief, which could be used to attack or retreat. Originally, They wanted Qin Haodong and Li Meiyu to sit in the same seat, but Li Meiyu said that she had a roommate and asked them to sit together. In the end, Qin Haodong and Tian Boguang shared a seat. Because Ji Fubao was too big, he occupied 2 seats. After sitting down, Ji Fubao smiled at Li Meiyu and said, "Sister-in-law, is your roommate beautiful?" Li Meiyu sat in her seat and took out a small sharp knife from her hand, as if she was performing a magic trick. "Fatty, if you dare to talk nonsense again, believe it or not, I will help you lose 20 pounds. Ji Fubao was so scared that he shrank his neck and quickly said, "Big. No, Li Meiyu, is your roommate beautiful?" "Yes, she's very beautiful." After hearing her words, Ji Fubao had just smiled when he heard Li Meiyu say again, "But she hates fat men the most." Ji Fubao suddenly looked as if he had lost his parents. "You guys are too outrageous. Fat people have no human rights." At this moment, there was a commotion at the door of the classroom. A slim girl walked in. She was another girl in the class, Su Hui. Su Hui's appearance was completely in line with the aesthetic standards of Huaxia people. She had long hair, big eyes, an oval face, and a height of about 1.7 meters. She was wearing a floral dress. Although her figure was not curvy, it was extremely well proportioned. Compared with Li Meiyu, although both of them were top beauties, their temperaments were completely different. Li Meiyu was pure, with a trace of naughtiness and liveliness, while Su Hui was as quiet as a pool of water. It was hard to imagine that such temperament would appear on a girl in her 20s. "Su Hui, I'm here." Li Meiyu waved to Su Hui, and the two of them sat in the same seat. Su Hui's arrival also attracted Qin Haodong's attention. However, his focus was different from others. Under the perception of his powerful spirit, he felt a faint medicinal fragrance on the girl's body. It seemed that she came from a family of traditional Chinese medicine practitioners. Seeing the two beauties sitting together, the eyes of the other 37 male students of the Chinese medicine practitioners department sparkled. Although the number of girls in their class was a little small, the quality was good. Any one of them was at the level of the campus belle. In the situation where there were too many wolves and not enough meat, the male students of the Chinese medicine practitioners class took the initiative to attack. Some came to deliver drinks. Some came to deliver fruits. Some came to introduce themselves. Some showed off their family background. And some showed off their grades. In short, they tried their best to seize the high ground of the first impression in front of the two beauties. Ji Fubao whispered in Qin Haodong's ear, "Boss, it's dangerous. It seems that you have to be careful in the future. You must take good care of sister-in-law." Qin Haodong just smiled. All he had to do was to complete his bodyguard task and ensure Li Meiyu's safety. Other things were not within his consideration at all. Tian Boguang also went over and kept showing off his handsomeness and talent in front of Su Hui. But this time he was a little disappointed. No matter how he behaved, Su Hui always had a faint smile on her face, and her emotions would not change at all. At this moment, the sound of footsteps came from outside the classroom. The whole class immediately quieted down. Was there another female student coming? Everyone looked at the door and saw a young woman in a business suit coming in. This woman was about 30 years old and also had long black hair. However, compared with Li Meiyu and Su Hui, she had a more mature woman's charm. In particular, the exaggerated curve of her chest attracted the eyes of these male creatures like a magnet. Long hair, uniform, high heels, and a mature and charming face. Such a young and beautiful woman turned out to be the tutor of their class. After realizing this, many male creatures immediately ran back to their seats as fast as possible. They sat upright and put on the appearance of good students. The young and beautiful female teacher walked up to the podium and said with a smile, "Hello everyone. I'm your tutor Zhang Xiaoyan. I will grow up with you in the 4 years of Shanghai Medical College." Chapter 480. Clap, 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 clap. In the classroom where there were more men than women, the influence of the beautiful teacher was huge. No matter what she said, there would be a thunderous applause from the audience. Ji Fubao clapped his chubby hands desperately. At this time, he regretted sitting in the last row. If he had known that the teacher was so beautiful, he wouldn't have sat in the last row. Although he respected the teacher from the bottom of his heart, everyone loved beauty. It was good to look at her more. Tian Boguang, who was next to him, complained, "It's your bad idea. You can attack and retreat at any time. Now you want to attack. Can you do it?" Although Zhang Xiaoyan was very beautiful, she was not a vase. She had rich experience in managing the class and was very capable in arranging the work. In less than half an hour, she had clearly explained some of the work to be done in the new semester. Then she said with a smile, "Today is the first day that we have officially met. We are not familiar with each other. Next, please come on stage and introduce yourselves one by one." With a beautiful teacher to set off the atmosphere, the enthusiasm of the class was unprecedentedly high. These male creatures who were eager to show off went up one by one and began to introduce themselves. Some of them were eloquent and seized the opportunity to show off their eloquence. Some were so nervous that they even said their names wrong, which made the audience burst into laughter. At this time, a tall and handsome boy walked up to the podium. He glanced greedily at Li Meiyu and Su Hui and said, "Hello, students. Let me introduce myself. My name is Fang Xiaoping. Since elementary school, I have always been very outstanding. My grades have always been in the top 3 in the whole school. This year, I ranked 9th in the college entrance examination in Shanghai. Before that, I have won the 2nd prize in the Mathematics Olympiad 3 times, the 2nd prize in physics once, and the 3rd prize in chemistry." Fang Xiaoping talked nonstop. Tian Boguang leaned over to Qin Haodong's ear and said, "Boss, this guy is not introducing himself at all. He is showing off. Is it necessary to say it so clearly? People should always be modest. What's so great about winning a few awards? I have had dozens of girlfriends since I was a child. Do you want me to go on stage and talk about them one by one?" Ji Fubao also said, "Yes, this guy likes to show off. I guess he must be thinking about sister-in-law and Su Hui." Qin Haodong smiled but did not say anything. He had already seen that Fang Xiaoping's purpose was to attract Li Meiyu and Su Hui's attention. Fang Xiaoping's saliva flew everywhere as he spoke. The more he spoke, the stronger his sense of superiority became. From time to time, he glanced in the direction of Li Meiyu and Su Hui. It would be good if he could attract one of these two beauties. He continued, "The reason why I applied for the Chinese medicine department with such a high score is because I came from a Chinese medicine family. My grandfather is one of the leading Chinese medicine practitioners of our medical university. On the other hand, it is for Su Hui." Zhang Xiaoyan had a smile on her face. It could be seen that her thoughts were still very avant-garde. She did not stop Fang Xiaoping's confession. "Su Hui and I are classmates. She has been my goddess since I was a child. I will go wherever she goes. I hope that one day I can win the favor of the goddess." Finally, and of. Although Fang Xiaoping's speech was not bad, the audience was quiet after he finished. There was no applause. The reason was simple. There were only 2 girls in the class. Everyone was thinking about them. Fang Xiaoping came up and began to confess. It was obvious that he was the rival of the other 36 boys. Who would be stupid enough to applaud him? As for the other 2 girls, Li Meiyu just looked at Su Hui with interest. Su Hui, on the other hand, acted as if she had not heard anything. Her expression was still very calm. She was not happy, excited, or touched. There was no change in her expression. Zhang Xiaoyan seemed to be very interested in this calm female classmate. After Fang Xiaoping, she asked her to go on stage to introduce herself. Seeing Su Hui, who was slim and graceful on the podium, everyone was interested. They didn't know how Su Hui would react after Fang Xiaoping's confession. If Fang Xiaoping was in any other class, a group of girls would have flocked to him. They didn't know whether Su Hui would accept or reject him. Under everyone's gaze, Su Hui began to introduce herself. "Hello everyone. I'm Su Hui. My situation is very simple. I have been classmates with Fang Xiaoping since primary school. The reason why he said that I was always in the top 3 in the school was because I was always the first. The reason why he never won first place in the competitions he participated in was because I was also the first place. Many boys have pursued me over the years, But I refused all of them, because there are conditions to be my boyfriend. First of all, his level of traditional Chinese medicine must be higher than mine. Second, he must make me admire him. That's all I have to say. Thank you, everyone. After that, Su Hui strode off the podium and returned to her seat. What was different from before was that after she finished speaking, the classroom immediately burst into thunderous applause. Everyone cheered for her speech. After the applause dissipated, many people began to sigh secretly. It seemed that there was no hope for them to be such an excellent girl. A faint smile appeared on the corner of Qin Haodong's mouth. What a girl with character. She actually refused Fang Xiaoping in such a tough way. Not only did she not accept his confession, but she also slapped him in the face. It seemed that she was annoyed by his pestering. Fang Xiaoping's expression was very ugly. He had expected that Su Hui would refuse him, because she had never accepted him for so many years. However, he didn't expect that she would do it in such a direct way. The self-introductions continued. Ji Fubao and Tian Buoguang went to the podium one after another. After saying their names, there was a burst of laughter as expected. Even Su Hui, who had always been calm, slightly raised the corner of her mouth. The last one was Qin Haodong. This time, he came to Shanghai Medical College to carry out a mission, so he didn't want to say too much. He simply said a few words and returned to his seat. Seeing that all the students had finished their self-introductions, Zhang Xiaoyan went back to the podium and said, "We have just met each other, so we don't know each other. Now we will recommend a temporary monitor for a month. After a month, when everyone knows each other, we will vote." After listening to the tutor, many people's eyes flashed with eagerness. First, the class leader was attractive to many people. Second, the two beauties were watching. As long as they could become the monitor of the Chinese medicine practitioners class, it would fully prove their ability. It was very likely that they would have a chance to win the hearts of the beauties. However, everyone also knew that it was definitely not that simple to be the monitor. There must be conditions. Sure enough, Zhang Xiaoyan continued, the monitor is very important to a class. Even the selection of the temporary monitor can't be too casual. How about this? We are all students of the Chinese Medicine Practitioners Department. I will give you a question. Students who are interested in the monitor will recite Sun Zimiao's The Proficiency and Sincerity of Great Doctors. Whoever can recite the most will be our monitor. The Proficiency and Sincerity of Great Doctors? After Zhang Xiaoyan finished speaking, the eagerness in many people's eyes immediately disappeared. What's this? Ji Fubao and Tian Buoguang originally wanted to go on stage to perform, but now they looked at each other. It was the first time they had heard the tutor say these words. It was no wonder. Many of the people present were just ordinary students in the college entrance examination. There were very few children like Fang Xiaoping, who came from a family of Chinese medicine practitioners. He had been studying mathematics, physics, and other subjects in the college entrance examination. When had he ever recited The Proficiency and Sincerity of Great Doctors? He had never even heard of it. Moreover, The Proficiency and Sincerity of Great Doctors was neither a prescription nor a medical skill. Even famous Chinese medicine practitioners rarely recited this kind of thing. Seeing this situation, Fang Xiaoping's eyes flashed with excitement. The condition put forward by the tutor was simply creating an opportunity for him. When he was a child, he had just come into contact with Chinese medicine. His grandfather had forced him to recite The Proficiency and Sincerity of Great Doctors. Although he had forgotten most of it, he would definitely have an advantage over others. He could even surpass Su Hui, who had never surpassed him. After Zhang Xiaoyan finished speaking, she said to the audience, "How about it? Is there anyone who wants to try?" "Teacher, I'll go first." Fang Xiaoping walked to the podium excitedly, sweeping away the depression after being slapped in the face just now. All highly skilled doctors must calm the mind and calm the mind. They must have no desires. They must first show great compassion and vow to save the suffering of all living beings. At first, he recited very quickly, but later, he slowly became rusty. He could barely recite 1/3 of it intermittently. However, this had already made other students envious, as if they were listening to a book from heaven. Although this guy was a little pretentious and arrogant, he did have some skills. He could even recite this thing. Under everyone's envious and jealous eyes, Fang Xiaoping triumphantly walked off the podium. He glanced at Su Hui and Li Meiyu, then returned to his seat and sat down. In his opinion, the position of class monitor had already been decided by him. Zhang Xiaoyan nodded and said, Fang Xiaoping did a good job. Who else wants to go on the stage? The audience immediately fell silent, but everyone's eyes were gathered on Su Hui at the same time. This girl had once said that Fang Xiaoping could only be second in everything. They didn't know if she could still overshadow him this time. Teacher, let me give it a try. Su Hui didn't hesitate and strode directly to the podium. She had really been annoyed by Fang Xiaoping over the years. She must not give this guy any chance to have any hope. All highly skilled doctors must calm the mind and calm the mind. They must not be overcautious, worry about their own good or bad luck, and protect their lives. Su Hui was obviously much more proficient than Fang Xiaoping in this, the proficiency and honesty of highly skilled doctors, that had been passed down for hundreds of years. She quickly recited to the position he had just recited. She didn't stop and continued to recite. After a few more minutes, Su Hui slowly stopped when she was halfway through her recitation. She could only recite half of this medical masterpiece. Seeing that he had been surpassed again, Fang Xiaoping showed anger and unwillingness on his face. This smart and beautiful girl was like a demon. She always wanted to suppress him. When Su Hui walked off the stage, there was a thunderous applause in the classroom. Everyone cheered for her wonderful performance. Ji Fubao poked Qin Haodong and said, Boss, can you go up and have a try? As long as you can become the class monitor, you will definitely make these two beauties look at you with new eyes. Tian Boguang also said, Yes, boss. According to my understanding of women's psychology, they like outstanding boys the most. Didn't Su Hui say that if you want to be her boyfriend, you must be stronger than her? These two guys couldn't do it themselves, so they put all their hopes on Qin Haodong. Subconsciously, they felt that their boss was almost omnipotent. Qin Haodong smiled and shook his head. He was not interested in being in the limelight at all, let alone pursuing Su Hui. Chapter 481. Ji Fubao said unwillingly, Boss, there are many benefits to being the class monitor. No matter what activities we organize, you can put yourself with sister-in-law. Otherwise, there will be too many wolves in our class. Be careful that sister-in-law will be taken away by others. Tian Boguang said, That's right. If you are the class monitor, you can get close to sister-in-law first. You can not only maintain your direct advantage over sister-in-law, but also find opportunities to get in touch with Su Hui. Even if the boss is not interested, you can take care of us. Qin Haodong's heart skipped a beat. What he had to do now was to get close to Li Meiyu as much as possible, so that he could complete his task. If someone else became the class monitor, they might really be separated. It would be quite troublesome to protect them. It seemed that he had to be the class monitor. At this time, Zhang Xiaoyan asked the audience again, Who else can come? In the eyes of the students below the stage, it was already very abnormal for two students to recite the proficiency and honesty of highly skilled doctors. Su Hui was the class monitor. It was impossible for anyone to be better than this proud girl. Teacher, I want to try. Under many surprised eyes, Qin Haodong, who had been calm, walked to the podium. Su Hui glanced at the male student, who she had not paid attention to before. Under her brilliance, this person still dared to challenge on the stage. He either had no brains, or he was very confident. She didn't know which one he was. Qin Haodong ignored the eyes of others. After he got on the stage, he began to recite. All highly skilled doctors must calm the mind and calm the mind. They must have no desires. He recited smoothly, clearly, and forcefully. There was no pause between each sentence, as if these things were imprinted in his mind. Soon, he had recited more than 1/3 of the paragraph. Fang Xiaoping immediately frowned. He was born in a family of traditional Chinese medicine, so he could barely recite this much. Where did this guy come from? In the blink of an eye, he had surpassed him, and he had no intention of stopping. Qin Haodong did not stop. After a few minutes, he recited half of the paragraph smoothly. Even Su Hui's expression changed. That was to say, She was also surpassed by the young man in front of her. Under everyone's surprised eyes, Qin Haodong recited the proficiency and honesty of highly skilled doctors, word for word without any pause. A look of jealousy flashed in Fang Xiaoping's eyes. He snorted coldly and muttered, "What's so great about it? I just happen to know how to recite it. I don't even know what it is." His voice was not loud, but Qin Haodong's sixth senses were so sharp that he had heard it clearly. A sneer appeared on the corner of his mouth. After so many years, she knew Fang Xiaoping's character too well. It was obvious that he was a person who couldn't afford to lose. Seeing this guy stand up against his boss, Ji Fubao was unhappy. He immediately shouted, "Fang Xiaoping, are you shameless? If you won, would you still say that reciting the proficiency and sincerity of great doctors is not suitable to be the monitor?" Tian Buoguang also shouted, "When the teacher just put forward this plan, you didn't have any objections, and you actively participated in the competition. Now that you lost, you say that it's not suitable. What were you doing before? Is the only plan that will let you win the most suitable?" Fang Xiaoping was completely blinded by the fire of jealousy just now. Only now did he realize that he couldn't find any tenable reason at all. Zhang Xiaoyan also felt that this student was unreasonable. When she was about to announce the result again, the classroom door was pushed open from the outside, and 4 policemen came in. She was having a class meeting. Why did the police come? She asked in surprise. "Comrade police, I'm the teacher of this class, Zhang Xiaoyan. What can I do for you?" The middle-aged policeman in the lead said, "It's like this, Teacher Zhang. We are the policemen of the University City Police Station. Yesterday, there was an injury case in front of the Shanghai Medical College. 3 students in your class injured someone. I want to take them to the police station for further investigation." Zhang Xiaoyan was slightly stunned, and then said, "Our students hit someone? That's impossible. Comrade police, our students have just reported in. Could there be any misunderstanding?" The other party made it very clear that the person who hit someone was a freshman of your Chinese medicine school. The middle-aged policeman said, "Qin Haodong, Ji Fubao, Tian Buoguang. These 3 people are in your class, right?" Zhang Xiaoyan nodded. "Yes, they are in our class, but..." The middle-aged policeman said, "There is no but. Now the victims are in our police station. We need to take them to our police station for further investigation. I hope you can cooperate with us." Zhang Xiaoyan turned her head to look at Qin Haodong and the others. What the hell is going on? After listening to the conversation between the 2 of them, Qin Haodong had already understood what was going on. Zhong Anghua had asked the gangsters to use dirty tricks, but now he had used another trick. He wanted to use the police to deal with Qin Haodong. In fact, at this time, he only needed to take out the ID that Hu Xiaoxian had given him, and the matter could be resolved immediately. But after thinking about it, he did not do so. Since Zhong Anghua kept making trouble for him, he had to make him suffer. He stood up and said, "Teacher, here's the thing. Yesterday, we met a few hooligans at the school gate. We did fight, but it was self-defense." The middle-aged policeman said, "Whether it was self-defense or not is not up to you. Come with us now." Qin Haodong said, "I can go with you, but this matter has nothing to do with my 2 classmates. It was all because of me, and they didn't do anything. I did it alone." Seeing that Qin Haodong had taken all the responsibility by himself, Ji Fubao quickly stood up and said, "Comrade police, those hooligans were knocked down by me with a brick. It has nothing to do with my 2 classmates." Tian Buoguang also stood up. At the critical moment, the rapist was still very loyal. "Comrade police, I did it. My 2 classmates didn't do anything. Just take me away." The middle-aged policeman said, "We'll make it clear when we get to the police station. We won't wrongly accuse a good person, nor will we let a bad person go. Come with us." Seeing that things had turned out like this, Qin Haodong took the lead and went out, followed by Ji Fubao and Tian Buoguang. The middle-aged policeman did not put handcuffs on them, because they were students. He directly took them to the police car, and drove out of the Shanghai Medical College. Seeing that 3 students had been taken away as soon as the school started, the classroom was noisy. The students secretly expressed their opinions. Fang Xiaoping stood up directly and said, "Teacher, I told you that this person is not suitable to be the class monitor. He fought with others as soon as the school started. What's the difference between him and a hooligan?" Li Meiyu was suddenly unhappy and said angrily, "The matter hasn't been investigated yet. What are you talking about?" "All right, shut up," Zhang Xiaoyan said with a sullen face. "Today's class meeting will end here. The matter of the class monitor will be decided after the opening ceremony in the afternoon." After that, she left the classroom in a hurry. Such a big thing had happened at the beginning of the school. She had to report it to the department and the school. Li Meiyu sat in her seat with a gloomy expression. She knew very well about Qin Haodong's fight. She also knew that Zhong Onghua had asked those gangsters to come. Fundamentally speaking, this matter had started because of her. What should she do? Should she help him or not? With the influence of the Li family in Huaxia, it was easy for them to deal with this small matter. However, she came to Shanghai with a hidden identity this time, and didn't want to expose her identity easily. At the same time, she was angry with her grandfather. She refused all the bodyguards sent by her family, saying that she could survive as well. If she called her grandfather for help now, she would lose. However, if she didn't ask her grandfather for help, how could she help Qin Haodong? She couldn't just watch them be arrested by the police. Just as she was hesitating, a beautiful woman in a business suit appeared at the door of the classroom. She knocked on the door and asked, "Excuse me, who is Qin Haodong?" It was Lu Yu. According to Zhou Xinju's instructions, she had come to find Qin Haodong to get medicine. Seeing that another beautiful woman was looking for Qin Haodong, Fang Xiaoping was jealous at first. Then he said gloatingly, "You're late. He has been arrested by the police." "Arrested by the police?" Lu Yu's expression changed and she asked, "Excuse me, what's going on? Why did the police arrest him?" Fang Xiaoping shook his head and said, "I don't know the details. I heard that he fought with someone." "I know." Li Meiyu hurried out of the classroom. According to her intuition, the woman in front of her should be able to help Qin Haodong. Chapter 482. Lu Yu looked at the beautiful girl in front of her and asked, "Little sister, do you know what's going on?" "It's like this." Li Meiyu took Lu Yu to the corridor and told her what had happened from beginning to end. "Sister, can you help Haodong? He was indeed acting in self-defense." "I can't believe such a thing happened." Lu Yu frowned and said, "Don't worry, I'll find a way." After that, she went downstairs and went back to the car. She took out her mobile phone and dialed Zhou Xinju's number. "I've arrived at the Shanghai Medical College, but Qin Haodong has just been taken away by the police." She repeated what Li Meiyu had said and then said, "Miss, should we help Qin Haodong?" "Of course we should," Zhou Xinju said decisively. "Go to the Shanghai Public Security Bureau on behalf of the Zhou family to find Director Dong, and ask him to immediately investigate this matter and give justice to Qin Haodong." She was a person who knew how to repay kindness. Qin Haodong had just saved her life last night, so she had to help him. Moreover, her current condition couldn't be delayed. When she called just now, Qin Haodong didn't say how long it would take to take the medicine. If it took too long, it would be troublesome if it couldn't grow after taking the medicine. From this point of view, she had to save Qin Haodong as soon as possible and get the red breast enhancement and body shaping elixir. "Got it, Mississippi. I'll go right away." After Lu Yu said that, she immediately ordered the driver to drive straight to the Shanghai Public Security Bureau. As one of the three top families, the Zhou family had a high status in the entire Shanghai. They had great influence in both economic and political aspects. Even though Lu Yu was Zhou Xinju's assistant, she didn't need to inform anyone when she arrived at the Shanghai Public Security Bureau. She went directly to the office of Director Dong Biqing. "Miss Yu, why are you so free today? Why don't you come and see your Uncle Dong?" Dong Biqing was very polite to Lu Yu, because Lu Yu represented Zhou Xinju wherever she went. If he offended the Zhou family, his position as the director of the Public Security Bureau would come to an end. "Uncle Dong, I'm here to ask for your help today. Don't be so polite to me. If you need anything, just tell me. As long as I can do it, I will definitely do it for you." "It's like this, Uncle Dong. I have a friend who was arrested by the police station in the university town. Lu Yu told him how Qin Haodong was attacked by gangsters, and how he was arrested by the police. Then she continued, Uncle Dong, my friend did defend himself. He was wronged, and he just arrived at the university. If this matter is not handled well, it will have a great impact on him. Speaking of this, she whispered in Dong Biqing's ear. The most important thing is that he is the young lady's boyfriend. This was the idea that Lu Yu had thought of on the way here. If she wanted to save Qin Haodong as soon as possible, and get the breast enhancement and body-shaping elixir, she had to give him a special identity. Anyway, she had already misunderstood him as the Missy's boyfriend before, so it didn't matter if she did it again. This method was really effective. When Dong Biqing heard that Zhou Xinju's boyfriend had been arrested by his men, he immediately jumped up from his chair. These bastards, I really don't know how they handle cases. Dong Biqing patted his chest and said, Xiaoyu, don't worry. Let's go to the police station in the university town now. Uncle Dong will definitely give you justice. Lu Yu smiled. This was the effect she wanted. Then I'll have to trouble you, Uncle Dong. Dong Biqing called his secretary and followed Lu Yu's motorcade to the police station in the university town. The middle-aged policeman directly took Qin Haodong into the interrogation room of the police station. But he didn't handcuff him. He just let him sit on the iron stool for interrogation. He took a pen and paper, and was ready to make materials for Qin Haodong's interrogation. But as soon as he sat down, he frowned and said to the young policeman next to him, Xiaozhang, you do this. My cervical spondylosis is acting up again. I have a terrible headache when I lower my head. Qin Haodong said, Comrade, cervical spondylosis is not a serious disease. If I treat it, it will be completely cured in a few minutes. The middle-aged policeman looked up at him and reprimanded, Young man, don't talk nonsense. Today is your first day here. I'm afraid you haven't learned anything yet. How can you cure my cervical spondylosis? Qin Haodong said with a smile, I have medical skills handed down from my family. I just want to continue my studies at school. If I'm not wrong, your cervical spondylosis is also an old problem, but it wasn't so serious before. 3 months ago, it suddenly began to get worse. You have dizziness and headache, and sometimes you feel nauseous. Am I right? As long as you believe me, I can cure your cervical spondylosis in a few minutes. The middle-aged policeman was slightly stunned. His illness was completely right, but he still shook his head and said, I've already gone to the hospital. The doctor said there's no way to cure it. I can only recuperate slowly. That's what an incompetent doctor would say. And you must have gone to a Western hospital. Western medicine really doesn't have a good way to treat this kind of chronic disease. Qin Haodong stood up and walked straight to the middle-aged policeman. Give me 3 minutes. I'll give you a surprise. Seeing that the middle-aged policeman was still a little hesitant, he said, You're not afraid that I'll attack you here, are you? The middle-aged policeman saw the confidence on Qin Haodong's face. He thought for a moment and said, Well, you can try. It'll be a few minutes. It'll be quick. Qin Haodong said as he put his right hand on the back of the middle-aged policeman's neck. It was really a piece of cake to treat this kind of cervical spondylosis with Greenwood genuine qi and a unique massage technique. He first dredged the blocked meridians in the neck, and then with a few cracking sounds, he reset the slightly dislocated bones. After a few pats on the neck, he said, Well, your cervical spondylosis has been completely cured. As long as you use your cervical spondylosis rationally in the future, it won't happen again. So fast. The middle-aged policeman felt an unprecedented comfort in his neck, as if he had suddenly unloaded dozens of kilograms of weight. He stood up and moved. Indeed, the headache and dizziness disappeared, and he was no longer nauseous. Young man, you're amazing. Your medical skills are really amazing. It's a piece of cake. Qin Haodong smiled, turned his head and said to the young policeman next to him, If I'm not mistaken, your left shoulder was injured before. Because the treatment was not in place, there was a problem of scapulohumeral periarthritis. When it rains or you use too much strength, it will hurt a lot, right? Yes, it's true. My arm was injured in a training session, and then it became an old problem. The young policeman said excitedly, "Little brother, can my disease be cured?" "It's just a small problem. It can be cured in a few minutes," Qin Haodong said as he began to treat the young policeman's scapulohumeral periarthritis. The reason why he treated the two policemen one after another was to delay the time. He knew that the Zhou family would soon come to save him. After all, Zhou Xinju's illness could not be delayed. 5 minutes later, the young policeman moved his arm hard. In the past, when he did this movement, it would have been painful, but now he didn't feel it at all. It was exactly as if he had never been injured. He said gratefully, "Little brother, your medical skills are really amazing." It's okay. It's just a small problem." After Qin Haodong said that, he sat back in the chair. Both of their illnesses had been cured. Their attitude toward Qin Haodong immediately changed 360 degrees. The middle-aged policeman sighed and said, "Young man, I know what's going on with this case, but this is the order of Deputy Director Zhao. I can't do anything about it." "Well, I can lend you my phone. If you have any connections in Shanghai, call me quickly. Otherwise, all three of you will be sent to the detention center today." Qin Haodong smiled and said, "It doesn't matter. Someone will come to help me later. Your deputy director has reached the end of his career." The middle-aged policeman frowned slightly and said, "Young man, don't underestimate our deputy director Zhao. He also has a certain relationship with the higher-ups." As he was speaking, the door of the interrogation room was suddenly pushed open. A middle-aged policeman in his 40s came in, followed by Zhong Ongua from the medical university, and the skinny monkey, the leader of the gangsters that day. The middle-aged policeman's name was Zhao Lixing. He was Zhong Ongua's uncle, and the deputy director of the University City Police Station. He was able to become the deputy director because of the help of Zhong Ongua's father. Therefore, when Zhong Ongua asked him to help him deal with a student, he immediately agreed without hesitation. After Zhao Lixing entered the door, he frowned and said to the middle-aged policeman, "Old Li, what's going on? Why didn't the suspect wear handcuffs?" The middle-aged policeman said, "Deputy Director Zhao, things haven't been clarified yet, so I didn't put handcuffs on him." Zhao Lixing said discontentedly, "What else do you want to ask? You saw the injured people. They were the ones who beat them. Just do the procedures and send them to the detention center." The middle-aged policeman hesitated for a moment and said, "Deputy Director Zhao, it's not appropriate to do this. I think it's better to find out the facts step by step." "Old Li, when did you become so sentimental?" Zhao Lixing waved his hand and said, "Well, you two can go out. I'll handle this case myself. They are just two students who have just arrived. It's not a big deal." The policeman sighed and left the interrogation room with the young policeman. When they walked out of the interrogation room, the middle-aged policeman took out a pack of cigarettes from his pocket. He took one out and threw it to the young policeman. After lighting it, the two of them smoked together. The young policeman said angrily, "It's obviously Deputy Director Zhao's nephew who asked gangsters to bully the college students. Now he wants to arrest them and send them to the detention center. It's too much." He was originally a young man with a strong sense of justice. Qin Haodong had just cured his shoulder injury, so he was indignant about this matter. "Little Wang, you haven't been working for long. There are some things that we can't handle." The middle-aged policeman put the cigarette in his mouth, took a deep breath and said, "This young man is a good man, but this time Deputy Director Zhao is determined to avenge his nephew. I hope this young man's family has some connections. Otherwise, it'll be really troublesome." Just as he said that, the expression on his face suddenly froze. The young policeman looked in the direction of his eyes and saw 7 or 8 cars driving into the police station. The one in front was the car of the director of the Public Security Bureau, Dong Bicheng. Behind it was a luxury motorcade. Any one of them was worth more than millions. After the motorcade stopped, the first to come down was the director of the Public Security Bureau, Dong Bicheng. Next to him was a beautiful woman in her 20s. The young policeman said in surprise, "Brotherly, why is the director here?" The middle-aged policeman's hand, which was holding the cigarette, trembled a little. He said excitedly, Just now the young man said that Deputy Director Zhao had reached the end of his career. Now it seems that it's true. He secretly rejoiced that he hadn't done anything extreme to the young man just now. Otherwise, he would have been as unlucky as Zhao Lisheng. Chapter 483. After the two policemen left, Zhao Lisheng looked at Qin Haodong and said with a gloomy smile, "Boy, do you know why I arrested you and brought you to the police station?" "I know," Qin Haodong said lightly, "because you abused your power for personal gain, abused your power, and retaliated against legal citizens." He looked at Zhong Onggua again and said, "Boy, didn't you just lose a basketball game? As for the gangsters and the police, you even mentioned your uncle. How can you not afford to lose?" After listening to him, Zhong Onggua immediately roared, "This is not about the basketball game. You took away the woman I liked, and now I have a bad reputation in the school. As long as someone sees me, they will immediately think of the game with you. Now I don't have the face to go out and see people. If I don't deal with you, how can I stay in the medical college in the future?" Qin Haodong shook his head gently and said, "If you do things like this, you really won't be able to stay in the medical college in the future. Boy, you are so arrogant. Don't you know where this place is? This is the interrogation room of the police station. If you are a dragon, you should coil up. If you are a tiger, you should lie down." After that, he took out a handcuff from his waist, threw it to Zhong Onggua and said, "Cuff this boy first. I'll see how long he can be arrogant." After that, he grabbed a police cap from his waist and threw it to Zhong Onggua. Zhong Onggua took the handcuffs and covered the camera in the corner. Zhong Onggua took the handcuffs and walked to Qin Haodong with the thin monkey-like man. "Boy, give me your hand." Qin Haodong smiled disdainfully and said, "Why? Not to mention that I'm not a criminal. Even if I am, who are you too? You are a gangster and the nephew of the deputy director. What right do you have to handcuff me?" "You." Zhong Onggua had tried his best to get Qin Haodong here, but he didn't expect that Qin Haodong still didn't take him seriously. He couldn't suppress the anger in his heart. He picked up the handcuffs in his hand and hit Qin Haodong's face. The thin monkey-like man also grabbed a baton from the side and attacked Qin Haodong with Zhong Onggua. The handcuffs made of pure steel drew a silver light in the interrogation room and directly hit Qin Haodong's face. If they hit him, he would be disfigured from then on. Qin Haodong was afraid that a long wound would be left on his face. Qin Haodong's expression turned cold. He raised his foot and kicked Zhong Onggua's lower abdomen. The kick was so powerful that the tall and strong Zhong Onggua flew out at a high speed like a fired cannonball. He slammed into the wall of the interrogation room and then fell to the ground with a plop. The thin monkey-like man already knew how powerful Qin Haodong was. At this time, he was the only one left to face Qin Haodong. He held the baton in his hand and didn't know whether to hit Qin Haodong or not. He froze there as if he had been paralyzed. Qin Haodong grabbed the baton, stuffed it directly into the man's open mouth, and then kicked him away. Zhao Lisheng had just blocked the camera, but he didn't expect that the two people he brought would be beaten like dogs. He quickly pulled out a pistol from his waist and pointed it at Qin Haodong. "Boy, don't move. Do you want to resist the law with violence?" "Qin. We're at Qin Haodong man. Qin. How dare you talk to me about the law? As a law enforcement agency of the police station, you let gangsters handcuff me, a legal citizen. Where is the law? As a policeman, you know very well what is going on in this case. You even arrested and retaliated against a legal citizen. Where is the law? Your nephew colluded with this gangster to personally attack me. Instead of arresting them, you arrested me for them to abuse. Where is the law?" Zhao Lisheng was speechless, but he soon shouted angrily, "You have a sharp tongue. You are just a boy from another place. How dare you provoke my nephew? Believe it or not, I will shoot you. At that time, you will resist the law violently. You will die in vain." Qin Haodong sneered and said, "Do you dare? You are just the deputy director of the police station, not the emperor. Can you kill people at will?" Zhong Onggua got up from the ground and shouted crazily at Zhao Lisheng, "Uncle, shoot. Kill this bastard." Zhao Lisheng yelled with a ferocious face, "Boy, you think too much. I am the emperor here. I can do whatever I want. He didn't dare to kill people. Just as he was about to shoot to scare the boy in front of him, he heard someone shouting behind him. Zhao Lixing, stop. Zhao Lixing was shocked. He looked back and saw the door of the interrogation room open with a bang. Dong Biqing, the director of the Shanghai Public Security Bureau, rushed in from the outside, followed by several heavily armed policemen. Director! Director! When he saw Dong Biqing at this time, he was so scared that he almost dropped the gun in his hand. Take off his gun! Dong Biqing shouted angrily. He was really shocked and angry. He didn't know what was wrong with this guy. He dared to shoot at Miss Zhou's boyfriend. Wasn't he setting himself up for death? People always cheat their fathers, grandfathers, and their families. What the hell is going on with you? The two policemen got the order and immediately went forward to take off Zhao Lixing's gun. Lu Yu took 2 steps forward and said to Dong Biqing with a serious expression, Director Dong, what the hell is going on? I hope you can give our miss an explanation. As Zhou Xinju's assistant, she was very capable and good at dealing with all kinds of situations. At this time, she had unconsciously changed the way she addressed Dong Biqing from Uncle Dong to Director Dong, implicitly expressing her dissatisfaction. Xiao Yu, don't worry. I will definitely give you an explanation. After that, he turned around and shouted at Zhao Lixing. What the hell is going on? Tell me clearly. Director. Zhao Lixing was covered in cold sweat. How could he say anything? At this time, he hated his nephew to the core. Didn't they say that this guy came from another place and had no background? Why did he bring up the director as soon as he made a move? How the hell am I going to live? Although he also had some connections with the higher-ups, they were too far away from Director Dong Biqing. He was afraid that no one would dare to talk to him now. It was estimated that he would lose his position as the deputy director. Dong Biqing pointed to Thin Monkey and Zhong Angua, who were covered in tattoos, and said angrily, What's the matter with them? This is the interrogation room of the police station. How come even gangsters came in? Are you a policeman or a bandit? Zhao Lixing stammered and said, Director, in fact, here's the thing. My nephew had a little conflict with his classmate. I just want to mediate for them. T. Dong Biqing was so angry that he didn't care about his identity anymore. He directly swore. Do you think I'm a fool? You even took out your F*King gun. Are you trying to mediate? At this time, Qin Haodong came over and said, Let me explain this matter clearly. He directly told Dong Biqing the whole story, and then turned to Zhao Lixing and said, Deputy Director Zhao, is that true? In order to save time, he directly used mind manipulating when he spoke. Yes. Zhao Lixing personally told him how Zhonglangua had found gangsters to retaliate against Qin Haodong, and how he wanted Qin Haodong to help him vent his anger. B****. How can a person like you be a policeman? From now on you're fired. Then, he said to the policeman behind him, Take all 3 of them away and deal with them strictly according to the law. Director, I know I was wrong. Please give me another chance. Zhao Lixing knelt on the ground and begged bitterly. It wasn't easy for him to get to where he was today. He didn't expect that because of a college student, not only would he lose his hat, but even his clothes would be stripped off. Take him away. Dong Biqing turned his head, and his face was full of disgust. He didn't even bother to look at him again. Several policemen stepped forward and handcuffed Zhao Lixing, Zhonglangua, and the thin monkey-like man. Zhonglangua suddenly panicked. He was still a third-year university student. What if he was really arrested? His life would be completely ruined. Uncle, hurry up and think of a way. Uncle, help me. At this time, Zhao Lixing even wanted to kill him. Because of this, I've been arrested. Why are you still shouting? No matter what they thought, the result was irreversible. Several inspectors took them out of the interrogation room. After dealing with Zhao Lixing, Dong Biqing went to Qin Haodong and said with a smile, Young man, I'm sorry. Because of my improper management, you've been wronged. In his opinion, this was the boyfriend of the eldest daughter of the Zhou family. In the future, he would be a core member of the Zhou family. He had to be careful. Qin Haodong was slightly surprised. When he saw Lu Yu, He was already sure that she was sent by Zhou Xinju. At the same time, he also knew that the middle-aged man opposite him was the head of the Shanghai Public Security Bureau. However, it was fine if he helped him. Why would the dignified director of the Shanghai Public Security Bureau be so polite to him? Just as he was puzzled, Lu Yu said, "Uncle Dong, although the matter has been dealt with, the police station arrested the wrong person. Don't you think you should give my friend some compensation?" Lu Yu was now representing the Zhou family. Dong Biqing naturally couldn't refuse the conditions put forward by the Zhou family. Moreover, this matter was indeed the fault of the police station. This matter has really wronged little Qin. It's only right to give him some compensation. Dong Biqing said to Qin Haodong, "Don't worry. I'm a classmate of your principal. I'll call him later and explain your matter clearly. Then, I'll send a letter of commendation and ask him to praise your spirit of fighting against the dark forces of society. In addition, you can ask for anything else. As long as I can do it, I will do my best." Qin Haodong thought for a moment and said, "Director Dong, I'm very grateful for what you've done today. However, I have a friend who has just been transferred from Jiangnan to the Shanghai Public Security Bureau to work in the criminal police team. Her name is Nailin Wuxia. She used to be the captain of the criminal police team of the Jiangnan Public Security Bureau. If it's convenient for you, you can take care of her." Although he didn't know why Dong Biqing was so polite to him, since the other party had extended an olive branch, he had to make good use of this opportunity. Nailin Wuxia ran from Jiangnan to Shanghai for him and gave up her position as captain. It would be good if he could give her some compensation. "Oh, I know Nailin Wuxia," Dong Biqing said. "She's a very good policewoman. Since she was the captain of the criminal police team in Jiangnan City, we can't let her be wronged in Shanghai. It just so happens that the captain of the criminal police team in Dongqing district has just retired, and the position is still vacant. I think it's just right for her to take over." Qin Haodong said, "That's great, Director Dong. Thank you here. That's all. I have something to do. I'll leave first. Take your time." Dong Biqing was old and shrewd. He could see that Lu Yu still had something to say to Qin Haodong, so he directly left the interrogation room with his men. After they left, Qin Haodong said to Lu Yu, "Thank you for your help, Miss Zhou." Lu Yu looked at Qin Haodong seriously and said with a smile, "Do you know who I am?" Chapter 484. Qin Haodong said, "I don't know you, but I don't know many friends in Shanghai. The only person who can invite the director of the Public Security Bureau is Miss Zhou Xinju. She called before and said that she would send someone to pick up the medicine. I guess you're here to pick up the medicine. I didn't expect you to be so handsome and smart." Lu Yu smiled and said, "Let me introduce myself. My name is Lu Yu, Xinju's assistant. You can call me Sister Xiaoya from now on." Qin Haodong nodded and said, "Sister Xiaoya, thank you for your help this time." "You're welcome. You helped our miss, so it's only right for me to help you." Qin Haodong took out 2 small jade bottles from his pocket. He took out one and said, "Sister Xiaoya, this is a red pill for Miss Zhou. Tell her to take it as soon as possible." Then he gave out the second small jade bottle and said, "This is another breast enhancement and body shaping pill. If Miss Zhou is still not satisfied with her figure, she can take this one as well. Every time you take this pill, you can increase the size of your cup by 1. But this time, I have to tell Miss Zhou that she must take both pills together. Otherwise it will be very troublesome." Lu Yu looked at the 2 small jade bottles in her hands, and her eyes lit up. Every woman longed for a good figure. Although she often showed off in front of Zhou Xinju, she only had an A cup. If she could also have this pill, she could at least improve to a B cup. But no matter what, she was still a girl, and it was her first time meeting Qin Haodong. If she asked for the pill, she would be a little embarrassed. So she bit her lip and didn't say anything in the end. Qin Haodong seemed to know what she was thinking. He reached out and took out a small jade bottle from his pocket. "Sister Xiaoya, thank you for your help this time. This is for you." Lu Yu immediately took the small jade bottle with a smile. She had witnessed the magic of this medicine from Zhou Xinju. It seemed that it was only a matter of time before she could increase her cup size. Thank you, little brother. Qin Haodong said. You're welcome. It's just 2 pills. How can it be compared to your help? Little brother, you're quite sweet. Lu Yu was very satisfied with Qin Haodong's performance. She took out a business card and gave it to him. No matter what happens in Shanghai, just call me. Qin Haodong took the business card, and Lu Yu said, Little brother, I'm afraid that Miss Qin will be worried. I'm going back to send her medicine now, so I won't take you back to school. It doesn't matter. It's not too far away. We can just take a taxi back. Qin Haodong said goodbye to Lu Yu and walked out of the interrogation room. At that time, Ji Fubao and Tian Boguang had also been released. When they saw him, they immediately ran over and said, Boss, what's going on? Why did they suddenly let us go? That's normal. We were originally wronged. Now that the police have investigated the matter clearly, they should let us go. There were some things that Qin Haodong didn't want his 2 brothers to know too much. He added, I'm sorry for making you suffer. I'll treat you at noon. Let's find a big restaurant and have a good meal. After saying that, he put his arm around their shoulders and walked towards a luxurious restaurant opposite the police station. Through this incident, the relationship between the 3 of them had deepened a lot, and Qin Haodong's understanding of these 2 people had also deepened. Ji Fubao's character was forthright and righteous. He was willing to do anything for his friends. Although Tian Boguang was a little lecherous and a little cowardly, he was still reliable at critical times. At Jiangnan Medical College, Zhang Xiaoyan waited for a full 2 hours. It was close to noon when the principal, Ho Wenbin, ended the city meeting and returned to the office. Ms. Zhang, what's the matter? Ho Wenbin asked. It's like this, principal. Zhang Xiaoyan told him about how Qin Haodong and the others had been taken away by the police, and then said, Principal, I think these kids are good, especially the one named Qin Haodong. I originally wanted him to be the class monitor, but now this kind of thing has happened. Do you think our school should communicate with the police station? Ho Wenbin thought for a moment and said, Since the police station has arrested people, they must have their reasons. We shouldn't get involved too much. Moreover, too many things have happened to the freshmen this year. Our school has always been strict, so now we must strictly manage them. If these people really have problems, we can just expel them. As the principal of the school, he had too many things to take care of, so he didn't pay attention to these freshmen at all. Since the principal had such an attitude, Zhang Xiaoyan had no choice but to leave the principal's office helplessly. As soon as she left, Ho Wenbin's cell phone rang. He looked at it and saw that it was his old classmate Dong Biqing. Old classmate, why do you have time to call me today? Dong Biqing said. Old Ho, we have a case here that involves the students of your school, so I wanted to tell you. As he spoke, he told him about Qin Haodong's case from beginning to end. Finally, he said, Now the matter has been investigated clearly. The 3 students in your school, led by Qin Haodong, were all wronged. Moreover, these students dared to fight against the dark forces of society. I think your school should praise them. We have already written a letter of commendation, and will fax it to you right away. Ho Wenbin frowned. He had already understood that Qin Haodong was wronged. But who was Dong Biqing? He was the boss of all the police in Shanghai. Did he need to personally intervene in such a small case? Could it be that there was something special about this case? Sure enough, he heard Dong Biqing continue to say, Old Ho, the personnel who had problems on our side have been dealt with seriously. Not only did we remove the deputy director from his position, but we also fired him from the police force. You can do as you see fit. As an old classmate, I want to remind you that the freshman named Qin Haodong is the boyfriend of Zhou Xinju, the eldest daughter of the Zhou family. Ho Wenbin suddenly realized that no wonder such a small case could make Dong Biqing pay so much attention to it. It turned out that there was such a factor in it. I see, old classmate. Thank you for reminding me. After hanging up the phone, Ho Wenbin began to slowly ponder. The Zhou family was one of the 3 big families in Shanghai. Every year, they would donate a huge sum of money to the medical college. Since this matter involved Zhou Xinju's boyfriend, he had to treat it with caution. As for Qin Haodong, he had to praise him for this matter, and strive to make Miss Zhou happy. As for the student named Zhou Ngangua, he colluded with hooligans outside the school to beat up an alumnus of the school. Under normal circumstances, he might be given a chance to stay in school. But now that this blind guy had provoked the boyfriend of Miss Zhou, he could only be expelled. At 2 o'clock in the afternoon, the opening ceremony of the freshmen of Shanghai Medical College was held in the school auditorium. Principal Ho Wenbin and a group of other school leaders sat on the rostrum. Just when everyone thought that the opening ceremony would be as dull as before, Principal Ho Wenbin took the lead to speak. First of all, I want to announce something at today's opening ceremony. Just this morning, I just held a meeting in the city. The city leaders asked our school to strengthen the management of college students and strictly enforce campus discipline. We must not allow any black sheep to appear. As soon as Ho Wenbin spoke, Zhang Xiaoyan's heart sank. It seemed that the school would seriously deal with Qin Haodong and the other two. Next to her, Fang Xiaoping's face showed a smug sneer. This guy who had stolen his limelight was destined to have a bad end. It seemed that the principal would definitely expel him. So what if you can recite the proficiency and honesty of great doctors? So what if you perform well? How can you compete with me in the future? The other students in the class also seemed to realize what the principal meant. The most important thing was that Qin Haodong and the other two had not returned yet. It could be seen that the matter was serious. They could not help but sigh for them. Ho Wenbin continued to say with a serious expression, as students of our Jiangnan Medical College, they colluded with people outside the school and tried to beat the freshmen of our school. Fortunately, the 3 freshmen of our school were not afraid and fought bravely. Not only did they catch the black sheep of our school, but they also helped the society to get rid of the parasites. As soon as these new students came to our school, they received a letter of praise from the Shanghai Public Security Bureau. They won honor and glory for our school. They are examples for all the teachers and students in our school to learn from. Now I will announce the names of these 3 new students. They are Qin Haodong, Ji Fubao, and Tian Boguang from the Department of Chinese Medicine. As soon as the principal's voice fell, the whole auditorium suddenly became noisy. Some people were shocked by the news, and some people laughed at the names of Ji Fubao and Tian Boguang. The teachers and students of the Department of Chinese Medicine opened their mouths in surprise. None of them had expected this result. Not only were Qin Haodong and the other two not punished, but they also won praise from the principal. Then everyone began to applaud warmly. Only Fang Xiaoping looked disappointed. Just now, he was looking forward to them being expelled. Who knew that they would become an example for all the teachers and students in the school to learn from? Ho Wenbin motioned for the audience to be quiet. He continued, "Next, I will announce the results of the school's handling of this incident." Zhou Ngangua, a third-year student, did not make progress as a college student. He colluded with people outside the school, which seriously violated the school's rules and discipline, and caused a negative impact on the school. According to the management regulations of Shanghai Medical College, we have decided to expel him from school. As for the freshmen Qin Haodong, Ji Fubao, and Tian Boguang, the school will give a notice of praise and reward them once. At the same time, Qin Haodong will be given a bonus of 10,000 yuan, and Ji Fubao and Tian Boguang will be given a bonus of 5,000 yuan each. All the fees for their senior years will be waived. After Ho Wenbin announced the result, the whole auditorium was in an uproar again. This time, the school's handling was beyond everyone's expectations. The punishment was unprecedentedly severe. They did not give Zhou Ngangua any chance and directly expelled him. The rewards for Qin Haodong and the other two were also quite amazing. Not only were they given a commendation, but they were also given a generous bonus, and all the fees for 4 years were exempted. Li Meiyu and the others applauded warmly, but Fang Xiaoping's face was frighteningly gloomy. He originally thought that he would be the pride of the Department of Chinese Medicine when he entered the university campus. However, as soon as the school started, the limelight was completely stolen by this kid. Next, let's invite Qin Haodong and the other two students to the stage to receive their awards. After Ho Wenbin finished speaking, Qin Haodong and the other two walked to the podium with big red flowers on their heads. No wonder they did not appear in the team of the Department of Chinese Medicine. It turned out that they had been called by the office early in the afternoon to prepare for the award. Qin Haodong was very indifferent to this kind of recognition, but Ji Fubao and Tian Buoguang were extremely excited. They had won this kind of honor at the beginning of the school. After that, they would have something to brag about to their parents and classmates. It seemed that their future would be bright if they followed their boss. Ho Wenbin personally awarded the certificates and bonuses to the three of them. After taking photos as a souvenir, he walked off the podium amidst a burst of applause. The three of them returned to the team of the Department of Chinese Medicine. When they walked back, the students in the class applauded thunderously. Ji Fubao and Tian Buoguang's faces were full of smiles. They stood on both sides of Fang Xiaoping. Chapter 485. Oh my God, he's really at the late stage of soul transformation. No wonder he's a disciple of a big family. He has such a high cultivation as soon as he enters the school. Brother Chow is really powerful. He's at the late stage of soul transformation now. When he graduates, he'll definitely be one of the top 10 masters in the school. It turns out that Brother Chow has been playing low-key all this time. He didn't say that he has such a high cultivation. It's really admirable. There was a burst of exclamations, including the teacher Mei Lin. She didn't expect that there would be so many outstanding students in her class. Qin Haodong glanced at Chow Huaping and couldn't help but smile. This guy's breath was unstable. It was obvious that he had just broken through. Moreover, there was a faint aura of the creation pill on him. It seemed that he had just taken this pill to break through. It could be seen that he wasn't playing low-key before, but had temporarily raised his cultivation and jumped out to steal the limelight. If I'm not wrong, you just broke through. You took the creation pill, right? Chow Huaping was proud, but he was stunned when he heard Qin Haodong's words. He did buy a creation pill with 3 patterns from the Alchemist Union at a high price yesterday. After taking it, the effect was excellent, and he immediately broke through to the late stage of soul transformation. In order to win the favor of the teacher and the beautiful students in the class, he jumped out to show off. He didn't expect that this person in front of him would see through him. He then came to his senses and said discontentedly, "Why do you care how I broke through? Anyway, I'm also at the late stage of soul transformation now, no worse than you." Qin Haodong smiled and didn't say anything. He didn't care about the title of the newcomer king, and didn't want to compete with this guy. He just wanted to quietly improve his cultivation. How can you talk to my little brother like that? A scum like you can't even compare to one of my little brother's fingers. Do you think you're great just because you're at the late stage of soul transformation? My little brother is much more powerful than you. He's really low-key. He could bear it, but it didn't mean that others could. The little she-devil immediately jumped out to defend him. Qin Haodong couldn't help but smile bitterly. Why bother? He didn't want to compete with this guy. Chow Huaping sneered. Don't brag for this guy. Don't tell me that he has reached the void training stage and doesn't want to show it in order to keep a low profile? The little she-devil shouted angrily. That's right. My little brother is already at the void training stage. How can a trash like you compare to him? Although she hadn't seen Qin Haodong's cultivation, she knew that Qin Haodong had refined a 6th grade elixir. Generally speaking, an alchemist who could refine a 6th grade elixir must be at the void training stage. In her heart, her little brother was the best. She would not allow anyone to look down on him. Not even a little bit. Little big bro, show me your cultivation and show this blind guy some eyes. The little she-devil turned around and said angrily, That's right, big brother Qin, show them your true cultivation. Zhao Xingyue said indignantly. Although she was timid, she didn't want others to look down on her big brother Qin. Qin Haodong didn't want to be in the limelight at first, but now he had been pushed to the front by the 2 little girls. He had no choice. He couldn't let them lose face. Seeing that Qin Haodong was a little hesitant, Chow Huaping was even more proud. Qin Haodong was a few years younger than him. How could he reach the void training stage at such a young age? Moreover, in the eyes of people like him, if he really had the cultivation of the void training stage, He would definitely show it when he entered the school. The more outstanding his performance, the more he would be favored by the school, and the more likely he would be to get the beautiful students in the school. No fool would really keep a low profile. Therefore, he thought that the guy in front of him must have made up such a reason to say that he was a master at the void training stage in order to get Zhao Xingyue and the little she-devil. In fact, it was all fake. Thinking of this, he was proud of being able to see through Qin Haodong's trick and shouted arrogantly, "Qin Haodong, since you've already reached the void training stage, let's have a competition and see how much better you are than me." After saying that, the momentum of the late stage of soul transformation burst out from his body again. But this time it was concentrated on Qin Haodong. He wanted to crush Qin Haodong with his own momentum, at least to fight evenly and improve his status in the class. Qin Haodong secretly shook his head. It seemed that the evils that he brought on himself were the hardest to bear. Since he had delivered himself to him, then he would let him suffer a little. With a thought in his mind, the momentum of his body suddenly rose, instantly crushing Chao Huaping's momentum of the late stage of void training stage. The momentum of a cultivator at the void training stage was very powerful. Although Qin Haodong only released it for a short while, it still pushed Chao Huaping back more than 10 meters. He hit countless tables and chairs, and finally hit the wall behind him with a plop. Only then did he avoid the embarrassment of being thrown into a mess. If Qin Haodong had not shown him mercy, he would have started to vomit blood by now. However, he could not blame others for this, who asked him to take the initiative to gather his momentum, to collide with a cultivator at the void training stage. It was undoubtedly an act of courting death. You are really at the void training stage. Chao Huaping's face was pale, and he no longer had the arrogance he had just now. The other students were shocked. It was already amazing for a student who had just entered the school to reach the late stage of soul transformation stage. But this guy in front of them had actually entered the void training stage. What kind of monster was he? Even Mei Lin's eyes were full of splendor. It seemed that she had really picked up a treasure. Although she was one of the best teachers in the school, she had rarely encountered outstanding students in the past few years. She had been at the bottom of the new student competition for several years in a row. It seemed that she could make a comeback this year. "Little brother, you are so great." The little she-devil rushed over and hugged Qin Haodong's arm. She said to the people around her with a proud look, "You see, my little brother is the best." Although Zhao Xingyue was shy and did not say anything, she also secretly held Qin Haodong's other hand. The pride on her face was overflowing. Although Chao Huaping was still a little unconvinced, he did not have the courage to face a master at the void training stage. He could only quietly retreat to the side. At this moment a cold voice said, "What's so great about just having a good cultivation? In our Black Tortoise school, cultivation is not the only thing that matters." The person who spoke was a skinny student named Zhuo Tianxiong. He had been shocked by Zhao Xingyue ever since he entered the school, and had always regarded her as his goddess. Now that he saw his goddess admiring and worshipping this guy, he could not help but feel a surge of jealousy. The little she-devil glared at Zhuo Tianxiong and said discontentedly, "If not cultivation, then what? Do you want my little brother to compete with you in embroidery?" The others also looked over. They did not understand how this guy, who was only at the late stage of nascent soul realm, could compete with Qin Haodong, who was at the void training stage. Seeing that Zhao Xingyue had also noticed him, Zhuo Tianxiong said proudly, "Although my cultivation has not reached the qi refining stage, I am a third-grade alchemist. How can he compete with me? Oh my god, this guy has hidden his strength well. He is actually a third-grade alchemist. He is not simple. I heard that it is very difficult to advance to the next level. I have a senior brother who has been studying in the school for 3 years, but he has not even passed the first-grade alchemist test. A third-grade alchemist is really amazing. Sometimes, an alchemist is much more useful than a warrior." Hearing the discussion around him, Zhuo Tianxiong said to Mei Lin proudly, "Ms. Mei, I think we should not only look at the cultivation of the chief senior brother. After all, an alchemist is much more useful to everyone than a warrior." Mei Lin hesitated. After all, Zhuo Tianxiong's words made some sense. A third-grade alchemist was extremely outstanding in the Black Tortoise Institute. In terms of status, their status was no lower than that of a void training stage warrior. After all, in the entire institute, Fang Qiong'er was the only student who had reached the 5th grade. Just as she was hesitating, footsteps sounded and a cold figure appeared in the classroom. Everyone turned around and saw that it was Fang Qiong'er of the 5 dragons and 3 phoenixes of the Black Tortoise Institute. Senior Sister Fang is here. Senior Sister Fang is really beautiful. What is she doing in our class? Senior Sister Fang is my goddess. Not only is she beautiful, but she is also excellent. She is the only 5th grade alchemist in our institute. Senior Sister Fang is so beautiful. If she smiled at me, I would be willing to die. It was undeniable that although Fang Qiong'er was cold, she was indeed beautiful. Many male students in the class were infatuated with her. For a moment the classroom was silent. Everyone's eyes were fixed on Fang Qiong'er. They did not understand what this cold senior sister was doing here. Fang Qiong'er did not pay attention to the others at all. Since she entered the door, there was only one person in her eyes. She walked straight to Qin Haodong with a bright smile on her face. She said softly, "Senior brother." Her smile was even more stunning than the blooming of 100 flowers. It was so beautiful that it could topple a city. "Oh my God, I am going to die." Goddess Fang Qiong'er smiled at me. She really smiled at me. Goddess is a goddess. I didn't expect her to be so beautiful when she smiled. She is so beautiful. Don't be so shameless. Senior Sister Fang Qiong'er didn't even look at you. It has nothing to do with you. Mei Lin was also a little surprised. As a teacher of the institute, she was naturally familiar with the excellent Fang Qiong'er. The biggest characteristic of this girl was her coldness. It seemed that she had never smiled since entering the institute. At least, she had never seen Fang Qiong'er smile. Now she actually smiled at a boy, and her smile was so sweet. It was really a big surprise. After greeting Qin Haodong, Fang Qiong'er said to Mei Lin, "Miss Mei, today I am here on behalf of the Alchemist Union to deliver the Alchemist Medal." Delivering the Alchemist Medal? Is there anyone else in our class who is going to take the Alchemist exam? Is it for Zhuo Tianxiong? He is already a 3rd grade alchemist. If he advances one more level, he will be a 4th grade alchemist. That's really amazing. I heard that the Alchemist Medal is reviewed and issued on the spot. Why did Senior Sister Fang Qiong'er personally deliver it to our class? It doesn't make sense. Someone thought of this. As a teacher of the institute, Mei Lin naturally knew the rules of the Alchemist College. She asked, "Fang Qiong'er, didn't the Alchemist Union say that the Alchemist Medal is issued on the spot? Why did they send it to our class?" Fang Qiong'er said, "It's like this, Miss Mei. Generally speaking, the Alchemist Union will issue the medal on the spot. But we are only a branch of the Alchemist Union in Black Tortoise Kingdom. Our authority is limited to alchemists below the 5th grade. My senior brother passed the 6th grade alchemist exam, so he needs to apply for the medal from the headquarters. Now the medal has been issued, so he sent it here." Oh my God, a 6th grade alchemist? Did I hear it wrong? Someone in our class has passed the 6th grade alchemist exam? How is that possible? Senior Sister Fang Qiong'er was the most outstanding student in our institute before, but she only reached the 5th grade alchemist level. Now there is a 6th grade alchemist among the new students in our class. Is this going against the natural order? A 6th grade alchemist? That means his cultivation must at least reach the void training stage. Could it be him? How is that possible? God can't be so unfair, can he? Chapter 486. Qin Haodong didn't say anything else. He walked back to the classroom, followed by Su Hui. After the class meeting, all the other students had left, leaving only Ji Fubao, Tian Boguang, and Li Meiyu. Seeing Qin Haodong come back, Tian Boguang stepped forward and asked, "Boss, have you figured it out? When will our roommate come?" "I'm afraid he won't be able to come in a short time." Qin Haodong told them about Dai Hongbing's situation and then said, "What do you think?" Ji Fubao slapped the table and said angrily, "He's a heartless bastard. He saved the old lady, but he's blaming her. Is there any justice in this world?" Tian Boguang also said angrily. It's said that an old lady can't be helped when she falls. It seems that it's true. These people are so heartless. Who will help them when they are in trouble in the future? Although Li Meiyu and Su Hui didn't say anything, their faces didn't look good. They were indignant about the unfair treatment Dai Hongbing had received. Qin Haodong said to Ji Fubao and Tian Boguang, "That's what happened. Do you still recognize Dai Hongbing as a member of our 508 dormitory?" Tian Boguang said, "Of course. A person who can help at a critical time is definitely a man. Although we haven't met yet, he is also our brother." Ji Fubao took out a bank card and said, "Just because of what he did, I recognize him as my brother. Boss, this is the 1 million yuan that bastard Zhou Guohao paid. I originally wanted to keep it for our dormitory's activities. Now you can use it to save Dai Hongbing. What do you think?" Tian Boguang said, "The old lady's family just wants money. As long as we pay the money, Dai Hongbing can come back to class. The most important thing is to save him." Su Hui was originally pestering Qin Haodong to compete in medical skills. After hearing the conversation between the three of them, she was quite moved. She didn't expect that the three of them would be so loyal for a roommate they had never met. Okay. Of course, Qin Haodong didn't care about the 1 million yuan. He said, "Money is not a problem, but we have to figure things out before we save him. There's no time to lose. Let's set off now." Ji Fubao asked, "Boss, where are we going?" Qin Haodong said, "I've asked Mr. Zhang. Dai Hongbing is locked up in the Dongqing District Detention Center. Let's go there first to find out the situation." Li Meiyu said, "Count me in. I'll also go and see if I can help." "All right," Qin Haodong nodded. This was the best way to prevent this girl from getting out of his sight. "Count me in too." It was Su Hui who spoke. Qin Haodong frowned. "We're going to do business. There's no need for you to follow us." Su Hui said, "Although Dai Hongbing is your roommate, he is also my classmate. I should go to see him when he is in trouble. Besides, I'm from Shanghai. I'm familiar with the place, and I have a car." Qin Haodong thought about it and said, "Well, let's go together." They left the classroom and went to the parking lot in front of the school gate. Originally, they were worried that Su Hui's car was too small to accommodate so many people, but they found that it was a red BMW SUV, which was just right for 5 people. Ji Fubao was the largest, so he enjoyed special treatment and sat in the front passenger seat. After fastening the seat belt, he smiled at Su Hui, who was sitting in the driver's seat, and said, "I didn't know that you were a rich woman. How about keeping me as your sugar daddy?" Su Hui started the car and said expressionlessly, "He's too fat. I can't afford to keep him." Ji Fubao cried with a bitter face. "Is there any justice in this world? Fat people have no human rights." "That's right. How can you say such shameless words? Why don't you look at yourself?" Tian Boguang, who was sitting in the back row, poked his head out and said with a smile, "Su Hui, I'm not fat. How about you think about it?" "No, you're too feminine." Through this incident, Su Hui's relationship with them had become closer. She even joked with them one after another. Tian Boguang said angrily, "What? How dare you say that I'm feminine? I'm educated and reasonable, gentle and elegant, and my face is as white as jade. Third bro, how can you say such heartless words? If you continue, I'll throw up yesterday's dinner." Seeing that Tian Boguang was defeated, Ji Fubao immediately laughed happily. Then he smiled at Su Hui and said, "Since you don't like us brothers, what do you think of our boss?" Su Hui said, "He's nothing. I'll beat him sooner or later." Qin Haodong smiled and thought, "This girl is too competitive." At that moment his cell phone rang. In the bathroom of the Zhou family's manor, Zhou Xinju saw her almost perfect figure in the mirror. She was so moved that she shed tears again. Flat-chested girl, airport girl. She finally said goodbye to these specific titles. After taking the red pill sent by Qin Haodong, her left chest and right chest finally reached the same level, reaching the A-cup level. However, she was not satisfied with this. She took another breast enhancement and body-shaping pill sent by Qin Haodong. Now she was a real B-cup, taller than most women. After admiring her perfect body again, She reluctantly put on her clothes. These clothes were all prepared by Lu Yu for her. The height of her chest had increased sharply, and the previous clothes were no longer suitable. After walking out of the bathroom, she picked up her cell phone and called Qin Haodong. She was sincerely grateful to this man who had made her chest rise. She was even more grateful than if he had saved her once. After the phone was connected, she said, "Dr. Qin, thank you." Although it was only a few words, everything was contained in them. She understood, and so did Qin Haodong. "It's nothing. I also want to thank you for the police station," Qin Haodong said. "Dr. Qin, don't be polite to each other. We will be friends from now on," Zhou Xinju said. "Do you have time tonight? I want to treat you to dinner." Qin Haodong said, "There's no need for dinner. I have something to do now, and I need your help." He knew very well that places like the detention center were heavily guarded. If they went there, they might not even be able to see Dai Hongbing. Originally, he wanted to ask Ma Wenjue for help. Since there was a ready-made big shot coming to him, he would borrow the power of the Zhou family. "If there's anything you need, just say it," Zhou Xinju said without hesitation. She was really willing to do something for this man now. Qin Haodong briefly told her about Dai Hongbing's matter, and then said, "I want to go to the detention center to meet my roommate. Can you communicate with the detention center?" "It's a small matter. No problem. Wait for me at the detention center. I'll go there now." Going to the detention center to meet someone was indeed a small matter for the Zhou family. She made another phone call, and then drove directly to the Dongqing District Detention Center. As soon as Qin Haodong and the others arrived at the detention center, Zhou Xinju arrived. After they met, he reintroduced them to each other. Li Meiyu and Ji Fubao had seen Zhou Xinju at the stadium before. This was their second meeting. Seeing Zhou Xinju today, they felt that there was something different about her, but they couldn't find what was different. Qin Haodong looked at her chest and said jokingly, "The effect is not bad. It's very good." As a woman, Zhou Xinju's cheeks suddenly turned red when she heard such a pun. However, her face was full of joy. The feeling of being a person with her chest out was really good. She said, "I've already contacted them. Let's go in." Qin Haodong nodded, and they walked into the detention center together. As soon as they entered the door, the director of the detention center, Ding Hongwei, was already waiting there with a smile on his face. "Miss Zhou, welcome to our place to guide your work." For the eldest daughter of the Zhou family, he usually couldn't find a way to please her. Since she had come directly to him today, he naturally tried his best to curry favor with her. Zhou Xinju said, "Director Ding, please do what you need to do. I just want to take a friend to see someone." Ding Hongwei quickly nodded and said, "No problem, I've already arranged it." They went to the reception room of the detention center. There was a small round table in the reception room, with 4 dishes and a few packs of cigarettes on it. After they sat down, it didn't take long for a thin young man to be brought over. He was about 1.8 meters tall, and wore a pair of black-rimmed glasses. He looked a little haggard, and there was sadness between his eyebrows. However, his eyes were very clear. Although his hands were handcuffed, his back was extremely straight, without any sense of decadence. When he first looked at Qin Haodong and the others, his eyes were full of curiosity. He was Dai Hongbing, a child from the mountains. He carried the hopes of his parents and the whole village. He didn't expect that after coming to Shanghai, he would be imprisoned just because he reached out to save someone. He had no relatives or friends in this strange city, so he was extremely surprised when he found out that someone was visiting him. 2 prison guards unlocked Dai Hongbing's handcuffs, pushed the door open, walked out, and stood guard outside. Dai Hongbing moved his wrists, looked at them, and asked, "Who are you?" "I'm the brother who sleeps on the upper bunk," Qin Haodong said with a smile. According to the school's bunk arrangement, Dai Hongbing slept on the lower bunk. "We are freshmen at the Shanghai Medical College. According to the school's arrangement, you and the 3 of us are in dormitory 508. So we are brothers in the same dormitory. These 2 are also our classmates." As he spoke, he introduced Ji Fubao and the others to Dai Hongbing one by one. He only said that Zhou Xinju was his friend. Dai Hongbing didn't expect that someone would come to visit him at this time. He said excitedly, "Thank you." Qin Haodong said, "You don't have to be so polite. Can you tell us what's going on? Did you hit that old lady?" Dai Hongbing said with a wry smile, "I just arrived in Shanghai. I don't even have a bicycle. How could I hit her?" As he spoke, he told them what had happened from beginning to end. The old lady had been knocked down by a black car without a license plate. At that time, she was seriously injured and in critical condition. However, the people around her were just onlookers, and no one stepped forward to help. Dai Hongbing arrived just in time. He directly sent the old lady to the nearby Central Hospital of Shanghai and used his own tuition fee of 8,000 yuan to help the old lady pay for the rescue. He originally thought that when the old lady's family arrived, they would definitely return the money to him. However, the old lady's 3 sons came. Not only did they not return the money, but they also insisted that he had hit the old lady and asked for 500,000 yuan as compensation. Dai Hongbing didn't have 500,000 yuan, nor did he admit that he had hit the old lady. In the end, the other party called the police. Under the strong request of the family, the police sent him to the detention center. Ji Fubao said angrily, "These policemen are unreasonable. Dai Hongbing doesn't even have a bicycle. How could he have hit the old lady?" Dai Hongbing said with a bitter face, "The old lady's 3 sons insisted that I hit her. Even if I don't have a car, it has something to do with the person who hit her. Otherwise, why would the old lady be sent to the hospital?" Chapter 487. Tian Boguang said angrily, "What kind of bullsh*t theory is this? Is everyone as cold-blooded as them? If everyone does nothing to help, what will become of this society?" Qin Haodong glanced at Dai Hongbing and asked, "Do you regret it?" After hesitating for a moment, Dai Hongbing said, "I don't regret it. If I hadn't helped, the old lady would have been dead. Nothing is more important than a human life." Qin Haodong's eyes were like torches as he continued to ask, "If you were given another chance, would you still send the old lady to the hospital?" "I've thought about this question many times in the past few days, and the result is that I would." "Then have you ever thought that if the old lady's sons continue to bite on you, you might end up being sentenced because of this heroic act, causing you to lose the university of your dreams, and losing your entire life?" Dai Hongbing said, "Yes, this matter really hurt me a lot, but people must have their own bottom line. If I don't help and ignore life, can I still be called a human?" Qin Haodong nodded secretly. Although he did not use mind manipulating, he could feel that Dai Hongbing was telling the truth. He was an ordinary student who was not rich. He had just come to a strange city and encountered this kind of thing. If his mind was weak, he would have collapsed long ago. What was gratifying was that although he had suffered an unexpected disaster, he was still able to straighten his back and keep his bottom line. This kind of person was worth helping. "Don't worry, this matter will be solved satisfactorily. Although I can't say that good people will be rewarded, I can guarantee that you will get fair treatment." Qin Haodong patted Dai Hongbing on the shoulder and said, "You are a member of 508, my brother in the lower bunk. Go back and have a good rest. Don't think too much. Come to school tomorrow morning to participate in military training." Dai Hongbing was slightly stunned at first, then he said with a wry smile, "I'm very grateful that you came to see me. You don't have to comfort me anymore. With the unreasonable character of the old lady's 3 sons, it's impossible for me to go out." Qin Haodong said firmly, "This is not comfort. Believe me, you will definitely appear at Shanghai Medical College tomorrow morning." After that, he left the detention center with several people. After going out, Zhou Xinju said, "Dr. Qin, do you need my help with this matter?" With the Zhou clan's strength, it was a piece of cake for them to deal with such a small matter. At most, they would have to compensate the other party with some money, and they would soon be able to release Dai Hongbing. "Don't worry. Let's go to the hospital to see the old lady first. We'll talk after we figure out the situation." After that, they rushed to the hospital together. Shanghai Central Hospital. This was an ordinary ward for 3 people. When Qin Haodong and the others arrived, The old lady who had been hit was lying unconscious on the bed. It seemed that the situation was indeed serious. On the other bed was a middle-aged man with a broken leg. He was packing his things with a middle-aged woman. It seemed that they were preparing to move out. Chin Haodong and the others put the fruits and supplements they had bought at the head of the bed. He glanced at the middle-aged man and said, "Brother, I think you haven't recovered yet. Why are you in such a hurry to leave the hospital?" The middle-aged man said, "I'm not leaving the hospital. I just want to change a ward. You see, the old lady is so badly injured, and there is no one to take care of her. Maybe she will pass away at any time. I'm a timid person, and I'm afraid of staying in this room, so I asked the doctor to change to another ward." Speaking of this, he looked at Chin Haodong doubtfully and said, "Young man, are you a family member of this old lady?" Chin Haodong shook his head and said, "No, the old lady was sent to the hospital by my friend, so I came to have a look." The middle-aged woman said, "Are you talking about that kind-hearted young man? We also heard about it. You really can't be a good person at this time. He helped to send the old lady to the hospital, but he was arrested and put in prison. What kind of world is this?" Chin Haodong said, "Sister, how did you hear about it?" The middle-aged woman said, "It's not a secret. All the doctors and nurses in the hospital know that the young man is a college student. He kindly paid the early rescue fee, but the old lady's sons blackmailed him. He's so unlucky." Chin Haodong said, "Sister, how many sons does the old lady have? Why didn't I see them? Is there no one to take care of the old lady here?" The middle-aged woman said angrily, "Those people are cruel and unscrupulous animals. The old lady was hit like this, but they didn't even look at her. They only know how to chase the student for money." The middle-aged man also said, "The old lady is also pitiful. She really raised a few ungrateful people." After the rescue fee paid by the college student was used up, the three of them didn't take a penny, and none of them stayed here to take care of the old lady. They simply let the old lady wait for death. If it weren't for this, we wouldn't have been in a hurry to change wards. Chin Haodong asked, "I still want to talk to them about compensation. Don't they come here?" The middle-aged woman said, "It's not that they don't want to come. They come back every night at 6 or 7 o'clock to see if the old lady is dead. I guess they are waiting for the old lady to die, so that they can ask for more compensation from the other party." The middle-aged man said, "It's about time now. I think they will be here soon. Little brother, let me tell you, those guys are very greedy. When you talk later, you must not reveal that you have money. Otherwise, they will definitely ask for an exorbitant price. Who knows how much they want from you?" While they were talking, the two of them were almost done. The middle-aged woman helped the man to the wheelchair and pushed him to the next ward. There was only the old lady left in the room. Ji Fubao and Tian Boguang angrily scolded, "Bastard. He actually has such children. He's worse than pigs and dogs." Li Meiyu said, "Now it seems that the old lady's 3 sons are framing Dai Hongbing. If the old lady can wake up, she will definitely tell Dai Hongbing the truth. At that time, the police can release him from the detention center." Su Hui said, "Let me give it a try." As she spoke, she walked to the old lady's bedside and reached out to feel her pulse. Chin Haodong also wanted to see the girl's medical skills, so he did not stop her. However, Ji Fubao said worriedly, "How are your medical skills? Can you do it?" "Of course I can. Grandpa said that I have already learned 80% of his skills." Su Hui began to feel the old lady's pulse seriously. As time went by, her expression became more and more serious. About 5 minutes later, she took back her right hand and said, "Mrs. Zhang's injury is too serious. Her left leg and right arm are fractured, and her internal organs are seriously injured. Although she is temporarily out of danger through surgery, her internal organs have been displaced to different degrees. With the current level of Western medicine, we can only perform the sternum fracture surgery. We can't put the disordered organs back in place. The most important thing is that the old lady's head was hit, and there is bleeding in her skull. Even if she can save her life, I'm afraid she will become an idiot or a vegetable. She won't be able to tell the truth." Ji Fubao exclaimed, "Damn, this is troublesome." Tian Buguang said, Su Hui, are your medical skills good or not? Is it a misdiagnosis? Qin Haodong did not speak, but he secretly nodded in his heart. No wonder this girl dared to challenge him. She did have a deep understanding of traditional Chinese medicine. Although she could not be compared with him, she was already a genius among geniuses at her age, which was very valuable. He had just observed the old lady's condition. It was indeed as Su Hui had said. Her injury was extremely serious. If she was not treated in time, she might not live for a few days. Su Hui said firmly, my diagnosis can't be wrong. Ji Fubao said, miracle-working Dr. Su, since you can see the condition, you must be able to cure it, right? Tian Buguang also said with hope, yes, as long as you can make the old lady speak, then Dai Hongbing will be completely saved. Su Hui shook her head and said, doctors are not gods. Old lady Zhang's condition is too serious. Even my grandfather can't save her. Qin Haodong asked, who is your grandfather? Su Hui said, my grandfather is Su Hongba from our college. He and Fang Xiaoping's grandfather, Fang Heluan, are the two leading doctors of traditional Chinese medicine in our Shanghai Medical College. Zhou Xinju was slightly surprised. So old Dr. Su is your grandfather. He once came to our house to treat my grandfather. Ji Fubao said, I checked old Master Su's information before I registered. He is definitely a master in the field of traditional Chinese medicine. Tian Buguang said, old Master Su is very famous. Fang Xiaoping's grandfather, Fang Heluan, is actually not bad. He has a deep understanding of traditional Chinese medicine. It's just that his grandson is too weak. Li Meiyu said, now is not the time to discuss this. What we need to do is how to wake up old lady Zhang and prove Dai Hongbing's innocence. Su Hui said, it's impossible to wake old lady Zhang up. Let's think about how to negotiate with the other party's family. Ji Fubao said unwillingly, we have money, but it's really sad to give it to this kind of people who are worse than pigs and dogs. Burning it is better than this. Let me try. Qin Haodong said as he walked to old lady Zhang's bed. He took out a physique-improving pill from his pocket and was about to feed it to old lady Zhang. Old lady Zhang's current physique was too weak. She needed to improve her yang qi to carry out follow-up treatment. At this time, taking the physique-improving pill was the most suitable. Su Hui's expression changed when she saw that he was going to give old lady Zhang the pill. She said, this is not the time to be brave. Old lady Zhang's life is in danger at any time. We sneaked in without the permission of the hospital. If we really make trouble, you will also go to prison. Li Meiyu also said nervously, yes, it's a matter of life and death. It's not a joke. Among the people present, only Zhou Xinju was full of confidence in Qin Haodong. Even her breast cancer could be cured within an hour. He could also develop a magic medicine, like the breast enhancement and body shaping pill. It would not be difficult to treat the old lady. Don't worry, I know what to do. Qin Haodong said as he fed the physique-improving pill to old lady Zhang's mouth. Then he reached out and grabbed old lady Zhang's broken left leg. Although this leg had been treated by the hospital urgently, the connection was not very good. If this continued, old lady Zhang would not be able to get out of bed for the rest of her life. After a few simple touches, he gently pulled and pushed. With a click, the broken leg was reconnected. Li Meiyu cried, Haodong, what are you doing? It's not a joke to treat a disease. In her opinion, Qin Haodong's bone-setting technique was too casual. It was just like a joke. However, the layman just watched the fun, while the expert saw the technique. At this time, Su Hui's expression had changed greatly. She could see that Qin Haodong's bone-setting technique was many times better than hers. Her grandfather, Su Hongba, was good at bone-setting and was known as the ghost hand, but he could never do this. Don't worry, this leg has been reconnected. Qin Haodong smiled at Li Meiyu, and then reconnected the old lady's broken right arm. Next, he took a deep breath and stretched out his hands in front of old lady Zhang's chest. However, he did not press it firmly, but just moved it in the air. Chapter 488. Ji Fubao asked curiously, Boss, what are you doing? Is this medical skill or qigong? Tian Boguang said. What qigong? I guess you want to give the old lady a massage, but you're a little afraid, so you're hesitating. Su Hui's eyes suddenly widened. She looked at Qin Haodong's moving hands and cried, Is this the Bodhi hand? Qin Haodong smiled and said, Good eyesight. This is the Bodhi hand. Ji Fubao said, What is the Bodhi hand? The name sounds really awesome. He didn't know anything about traditional Chinese medicine before. But as a genius of a traditional Chinese medicine family, Su Hui heard the words Bodhi hand like thunder. Using qi as a hand to achieve the power of Bodhi. This was the record of the Bodhi hand in ancient Chinese medicine classics. It was said that the Bodhi hand had an unimaginable effect on treating people's internal organs displaced and damaged. However, the Bodhi hand needed a combination of medical skills and martial arts. With the decline of traditional Chinese medicine, the Bodhi hand had been lost for many years. She didn't expect to see it again today. How is this possible? How is this possible? Su Hui couldn't believe everything in front of her. A few hours ago, she had proposed to compete with this young man. Now it seemed that the Bodhi hand was beyond her reach. He said he didn't want to bully me. It turned out to be true? At this time, Su Hui had realized how big the gap in medical skills between them was. Qin Haodong restored the old lady's dislocated internal organs little by little, and helped her dredge the blocked meridians with greenwood genuine qi. Then, he withdrew the Bodhi hand. The order of his treatment was from the bottom to the top. The last thing he had to treat was the old lady's injured head, which was also the most difficult part. Only by removing the blood clot in the skull could the old lady wake up. After coming to her senses, Su Hui said, We Chinese medicine practitioners don't have a good way to treat this kind of intracranial blood clot. You've cured most of the old lady. Leave the rest to the hospital. Western medicine is better in this aspect. That won't do. The old lady is too old. If she has an operation, she may not be able to get out of the operating table. Even if the operation is successful, the possibility of her regaining consciousness is not high. Qin Haodong glanced at Su Hui and said, Who said that Chinese medicine practitioners don't have a good way to treat intracranial blood clot? Do you have a way? Su Hui asked doubtfully. Just watch. Qin Haodong took out the needle bag and began to stab the silver needles into the old lady's head one by one. His technique was not fast. After the silver needle was inserted, he stretched out 2 fingers and gently pressed on the end of the needle. The silver needle suddenly seemed to be charged with electricity, and the end of the needle kept swaying. Seeing this technique, Su Hui jumped up and exclaimed, Is this the rejuvenative acupuncture? Ji Fubao, who was next to her, was shocked. He covered his chest and shouted, Sister, don't be so surprised, okay? You almost gave me a heart attack. Su Hui ignored him and continued to shout, Oh my God, I really saw the rejuvenative acupuncture. This kind of acupuncture technique really exists. 10 minutes later, Qin Haodong retrieved all the silver needles. Then he stretched out the Laogong acupoint on the palm of his right hand, aimed at the Baihui acupoint on the top of the old lady Zhang's head, and slowly spat out the greenwood genuine qi. Under everyone's gaze, 2 streams of blood spurted out of Granny Zhang's nostrils. The color of the blood was dark red, and there were some blood clots in it. Tian Boguang was shocked and shouted, Boss, you're in trouble. You've made the old lady sick. Why don't you run away and say that I did all this? Ji Fubao also shouted, Yes, boss, you're bleeding from all 7 orifices. The old lady is definitely hopeless now. Qin Haodong raised his hand and hit each of them in the head. What nonsense are you talking about? The old lady has completely recovered. After that, he took the towel from the bedside and wiped the blood flowing out of Granny Zhang's nostrils. Boss, don't force yourself. I'll take care of it if anything happens. While Ji Fubao was speaking, he suddenly stopped there with his mouth agape, because he saw that Granny Zhang, who had been unconscious just now, had opened her eyes. She looked around the ward, and then slowly sat up on the bed. Young man, where am I? The old lady asked Ji Fubao. Where are you? Ji Fubao stammered as if he was dreaming. You should be in the hospital. Hospital? The old lady's expression suddenly changed and she shouted, I remember. I was knocked down by a car, and was carried into the car by a young man who was passing by. I don't know what happened after that. Where's that young man? I want to thank him. If it weren't for him, I would have lost my life. Seeing that the old lady had really woken up and regained all her consciousness, everyone present was excited. Li Meiyu threw herself into Qin Haodong's arms and kissed him on the face. Haodong, you're really great. Ji Fubao was originally standing next to Su Hui, but when he saw her cold face, he immediately gave up the idea of hugging her. Tian Boguang glanced at Zhou Xinju, who was standing next to him. That girl's aura was too strong, and he couldn't provoke her at all. He could only turn his head and hug Ji Fubao. However, he didn't have that kind of special hobby. Zhou Xinju looked at Qin Haodong, and her beautiful eyes sparkled. This young man was indeed extraordinary. He had once again brought her a surprise. Su Hui stepped forward and grabbed Qin Haodong's arm. She asked excitedly, "How did you get the intracranial congestion out of your nostrils?" Qin Haodong said, "The technique I used is mainly genuine qi. You haven't practiced martial arts, so you won't understand even if I tell you." Su Hui was instantly petrified on the spot. Ever since she could remember, she had been smarter and more beautiful than other children. After she went to school, she would always get first place in every exam. She also showed a unique talent in traditional Chinese medicine, which was deeply loved by her grandfather. Because of this, she could be said to be the proud daughter of heaven. She had been praised for 20 years, so she had developed a competitive and arrogant character. The way she rejected the pursuit of boys had always been one sentence: "As long as you can be stronger than me." It turned out that after so many years, she had never met a boy who could be stronger than her. Because she was too outstanding, she had always said things like, "You won't understand even if I tell you," to others. She had never thought that one day someone could say such things to her. Therefore, Qin Haodong just casually said a few words, but these few words sounded like thunder in her ears. The blow was really too big. Qin Haodong didn't notice this. He turned to the old lady and said, "Grandma, do you remember how you were hit by a car? Can you tell us in detail?" Hearing this, everyone quieted down and wanted to hear what the old lady had to say. The main purpose of their visit was to find out the truth of the matter and give justice to Dai Hongbing. I remember. The old lady told them what had happened that day. It was basically the same as what Dai Hongbing said. A black car hit her and didn't stop after hurting her. It ran away directly. It was Dai Hongbing who stopped a taxi and sent her to the hospital. She didn't know what happened after that, because she was in a coma. Qin Haodong said, "Grandma, the person who saved you is my classmate Dai Hongbing. He is still in the detention center because of this matter." He told what had happened later, and then said, "Grandma, I'll call the traffic police now and ask them to come here. Can you tell them what happened?" Yes. The old lady said with a guilty face, "I'm sorry for that young man. My 3 sons can do anything but human affairs. You can call the police now. I will definitely tell them everything." After hearing the old lady's words, they were all happy. Zhou Xinju was about to ask someone to contact the traffic police, but at that moment, someone at the door of the ward shouted, "Who are you? What are you doing here?" Hearing this shout, they immediately turned their eyes to the door and saw 3 tall and strong men appear in front of the door. "Who are you? Are you here to compensate me? Let me tell you, that guy hit my mother like this. He should compensate at least 500,000 yuan. He can't leave the detention center if he doesn't pay a penny." The one who spoke was the strong man walking in front. He was the old lady's eldest son, Zhang Dali. Behind Zhang Dali were the old lady's other 2 sons, Zhang Erqiang and Zhang Sangang. This guy looked very rough, but in fact he was very smart. They didn't know the people who came. If they weren't from the Zhang family, then they were naturally from the other side. When they saw Qin Haodong and the others, the 3 guys were happy at the same time. After waiting for so many days, the other side's family finally came. They finally had a chance to ask for money. Although these people looked a little young, Zhou Xinju and Li Meiyu were wearing famous brands all over their bodies. At first glance, they could tell that they were rich people. They would definitely be able to make a lot of money. Zhang Erqiang also shouted. In fact, 500,000 yuan is not much at all. Look at my mother's injuries. She's in a severe coma. The doctor said that her life could be in danger at any time. As he spoke, he suddenly saw the old lady sitting on the bed. It was as if he had seen a ghost. He shouted in horror. Old thing, are you alive or dead? When the old lady saw her 3 sons, she didn't feel any joy. On the contrary, there was a flash of fear in her eyes. Qin Haodong said to the 3 of them, Grandma Zhang has just woken up. Things are very clear. It was the black car that hit her. If you want money, you can find the culprit. It has nothing to do with my classmate Dai Hongbing. After hearing his words, Zhang Dali and the others looked at each other, with very complicated expressions. Then, they looked at the old lady on the bed. They turned back and said to Qin Haodong, My mother is in her 70s. She was hit again. She must be very confused now. What she said just now must be nonsense. Zhang Sangang also said, The 3 of us are not here. You guys must have forced my mother to say this. Be careful, or I'll beat you. As he spoke, he also shook his huge fist full of threat. Tian Boguang shouted, Nonsense. Grandma Zhang was completely willing. When did we force her? Ji Fubao shouted angrily, Nonsense. We saved Grandma Zhang's life. Why don't you be grateful and talk like this? Zhang Dali said, Grateful? Why should we be grateful to you? Could it be that we begged you? You. What else did Ji Fubao want to say? Zhang Erqiang stopped him and said, My mother has just woken up. You guys go out first. We'll have a good talk with her. I'll tell you when she's emotionally stable. Well, we'll be at the door. Call us when you're ready. Qin Haodong didn't say much. He just secretly put a bean-sized camera on the flower pot in the room. This thing was given to him by Hu Shaoxian. It was said to be the latest technology in Huaxia. The camera effect was super clear, and it could be connected to the mobile phone in real time through the internet. Chapter 489. Qin Haodong left the ward with a few people. They did not guard the door, but went directly to the end of the corridor. There was no one else there, so it was very quiet. Ji Fubao said worriedly, Boss, I don't think these guys are good people. They asked us to come out. Are they up to something? Tian Boguang said, I guess so. They are probably forcing the old lady to slander Dai Hongbing. Li Meiyu said in disbelief, It can't be. Can people really be so bad? Ji Fubao said angrily, They can leave their seriously ill mother here. They are simply heartless. They can't be called human beings. There's no need to guess. Let's see. If they really want to do that, they are courting death. Under the puzzled gazes of several people, Qin Haodong took out his mobile phone and connected it to the miniature camera in the room wirelessly. Soon, the scene in the room appeared on the mobile phone. Ji Fubao said in surprise, Boss, how did you do that? Tian Boguang said, Boss, you are too awesome. You can do that. We must be careful when we take a bath in the future. Maybe we will be peeped by you. Qin Haodong raised his hand and flicked him on the head, saying, Stop talking nonsense. Hurry up and look. They gathered together and looked at the mobile phone screen. At this time, the 3 of them had already surrounded the old lady. Zhang Dali was the first to say, Old B*** starred, did you just talk nonsense to those people? The old lady was very afraid of her sons. She said timidly, I didn't say anything. I was just telling the truth. Zhang Sangang said domineeringly, You can't tell the truth. Now listen to me. Just say that the college student who sent you to the hospital hit you. Do you remember? The old lady said, How can I do that? He saved me. I will lose my conscience if I say that. Zhang Erqiang said, What's the use of conscience? Can conscience be used as money? Only by saying this can we get money. Without money, how can we buy a coffin for you? Although the old lady was very afraid of her 3 sons, she was very stubborn at this time. She said again, I can't say that. That will be a trap for the children. They will go to hell after they die. As soon as she finished speaking, Zhang Dali grabbed her collar and said fiercely, Old thing, what did you say? Do you believe that I will send you to hell right now? Seeing this, several people were so angry that their eyes were on fire. Ji Fubao scolded, That son of a b asterisk tch. How dare he treat his own mother like this? And he still wants to slander Dai Hongbing. I'll go and teach them a lesson now. Qin Haodong grabbed him and said, Don't worry, let's wait and see. Ji Fubao turned around and angrily looked at the phone screen again. On the screen, Zhang Sangang said to the old lady, Now you must cooperate with us to ask for money. Otherwise, how can we support you in the future? Old lady Zhang breathes heavily, but still doesn't speak. Zhang Erqiang pulled Zhang Dali away and said in a gentler tone, Mom, you know our family's situation. The three of us don't have jobs, so we really need this money. My son, your eldest grandson, is about to get married. As long as you can help us get this money, we will be filial to you in the future. How about that? Seeing that the old lady still didn't speak, he said again, That's it. If you don't want to talk, then don't talk. Listen to us later. Zhang Dali seemed to be a little worried. He threatened again. Old thing, did you hear that? If you dare to talk nonsense later, you won't be able to eat in the future. Old lady Zhang slowly closed her eyes. 2 lines of muddy tears flowed down her wrinkled cheeks. Zhang Erqiang turned around and greedily said to the two of them, Boss third, I think these students are rich. We're going to be rich. Seeing this, Qin Haodong sighed, put away his phone and said, Call the police. He directly called Nailan Wuxia and explained the situation. Then, he took a few people back to the ward. As soon as he entered the door, he heard Zhang Dali say, We've already asked my mother just now. It was that college student who hit her like this. Zhang Erqiang then said, And my mother said that you forced her to say it just now. In fact, it's not like that at all. Qin Haodong glanced at the 3 people and said, What do you want to do? Zhang Dali cried, Of course we want to pay. Dai Hongbing hit my mother like this. He won't be able to get out of the detention center without 1 million yuan. This guy was asking for an exorbitant price. He had doubled the original 500,000 yuan. Ji Fubao shouted angrily, What? Wasn't it 500,000 yuan? How did it become 1 million yuan now? Zhang Erqiang said, It makes sense for us to ask for 1 million yuan. It seemed that my mother was going to die. A dead person doesn't need much money, so we asked for 500,000 yuan. Now it's different. My mother is alive. In the future, we will have to take care of her when she dies. The medical expenses, nutrition expenses, nursing expenses, and so on. 1 million yuan is not a lot. Zhang Sangang said, We also inquired about it. That student is a freshman at the Shanghai Medical College. Now the registration is about to end. If he doesn't hurry up and get out, he won't be able to go to college in this life. Think about it. People only have one chance to go to college in their lifetime. It would be a pity if they miss it. I advise you to hurry up and get the money. Qin Haodong took out a bank card from his pocket and said, 1 million yuan is not too much. It's in this card. But now it's clear that Dai Hongbing didn't hit her, so you can't get the money. Looking at the card in Qin Haodong's hand, Zhang Dali's eyes flashed with greed. He cried, Boy, what are you talking about? My mother said it clearly. It was Dai Hongbing who hit her. Zhang Erqiang said, In fact, it's useless for you to say this. The police still follow what we brothers say. As long as we don't say anything, Dai Hongbing will stay in the detention center forever. So I advise you to pay for it and spend money to avoid disaster. Qin Haodong sneered and said, Are you sure you want the 1 million yuan? Zhang Sangang cried, Don't talk nonsense. You should pay for it. Just the few of you want to learn how to extort and extort others? You must be crazy for money. Qin Haodong glanced at the 3 of them and said disdainfully, Food and accommodation in prison are free. It's useless for you to have the money. Zhang Dali said with a fierce look, Boy, what are you talking about? Believe it or not, I'll beat you until all your teeth fall out. The 3 brothers were famous ruffians in the neighborhood. They fought, blackmailed, swindled, and did everything. So they didn't take the students in front of them seriously at all. Just then, the door opened and Nailan Wuxia came in from outside with 4 or 5 policemen. Seeing that the police had arrived, the 3 men's expressions suddenly changed, turning from fierce to timid. Zhang Erqiang stepped forward and said, Officer, we were just about to call the police when you came. These guys bullied the old lady and forced my mother to say that the murderer who hit her was not their classmate. You must help us. You're really a pig. It's good to play the blame game. Chin Haodong took out his mobile phone and said, "Look at this." As he spoke, he clicked on the video on his mobile phone. The faces of the three people in the ward were clearly played. Chin Haodong looked at the three men coldly and said in a cold voice, "You three are worse than pigs and dogs. Just wait to spend the rest of your lives in prison. Little bastard, how dare you trick us? I'll cripple you today." Seeing that they couldn't get the 1 million yuan and would go to prison, Zhang Dali and the other two boys rushed toward Chin Haodong like crazy. However, they were not strong enough. In the blink of an eye, they were put to the ground by Chin Haodong. Ji Fubao and Tian Buoguang had long disliked these guys. They immediately rushed up and punched and kicked them. It was really satisfying. Even Li Meiyu, the girl, went up and kicked them hard. There was no one else to blame but the actions of these few fellows, who had angered both humans and gods. When they were almost done, Nailin Wuxia waved her hand. Several policemen immediately stepped forward and handcuffed the three guys. After a round of beating, the few of them regained their senses. Zhang Dali said with a bloody nose and swollen face, I was wrong this time. I beg you, please forgive me this time." They were hooligans. When they saw that the situation was not good, they immediately bowed their heads and admitted their mistakes. Chin Haodong sneered and said, "It's too late to admit your mistakes now. Go to prison and tell the corrections officer." Zhang Erqiang cried, "We don't want the money. We don't want a penny. We'll immediately sign the papers to let Dai Hongbing out. Please don't send us to prison." Chin Haodong said, "There's no need. Now that the truth has been revealed, Dai Hongbing can be released even without your signatures." Zhang Sanqiang said, "You can't send us to prison. My mother is alone. If we go to prison, she won't even be able to eat. She will die." Chin Haodong frowned. The old lady's placement was indeed a problem. At this time, Zhou Xinju stepped forward and said, "You don't have to worry about this. Our Zhou family has the best retirement apartment. We can provide it to Mrs. Zhang for free. The old lady will enjoy the best care there. It's 100 times better than you unfilial sons." The three of them were suddenly dumbfounded. They had thought that it was a good opportunity to make a fortune, but they didn't expect to end up like this. The matter had been resolved. Nailin Wuxia waved her hand, and several policemen dragged the three people out of the ward and took them to the police car. After they left, Ji Fubao said to Nailin Wuxia, "Officer, how long will these bastards be sentenced to?" Nailin Wuxia said, 1 million is not a small amount of extortion. I estimate that they will stay in prison for more than 10 years. Tian Buoguang said, "It's best to let these people stay in prison for the rest of their lives. They will be a scourge to society when they are released. Come here. I have something to tell you." Nailin Wuxia was not in a hurry to leave. Instead, she called Chin Haodong to her side. Seeing her playful expression, Chin Haodong said with a guilty conscience, "Wuxia, what's the matter?" Nailin Wuxia looked at him and said, "Well, you're quite fast. I haven't seen you for only a day. And there are 3 more beautiful girls around you?" Chin Haodong said, "Well, they are my classmates and ordinary friends." "Ordinary friends? Remember what you said. If they become extraordinary in the future, I will settle accounts with you." Nailin Wuxia glared at him charmingly and then said, "I am now the captain of the crime squad in Dongqing district." "Thank you." Shanghai was a giant city in Huaxia. The district here was at the same level as Jiangnan City. The captain of a district was at the same level as the captain of the original Jiangnan City. Chin Haodong said, "This little thing is nothing. You came to Shanghai because of me. I can't let you suffer too much. You have a conscience," Nailin Wuxia said and kissed him on the cheek. Chapter 490. Seeing Chin Haodong and Nailin Wuxia walk to the side, Ji Fubao and Tian Buoguang kept peeping at them. Ji Fubao said in confusion, "Isn't the case over? Why is this policewoman looking for the boss?" "You fool! The policewoman didn't look for the boss to talk about the case, but about feelings. Tian Boguang said with an expert's expression. With my many years of experience, this policewoman must have fallen in love with the boss. I can see it from her eyes. She loves boss so much that she could die. Ji Fubao glared at him and said, "Come on, don't bully me. I'm single. Do you think this is a TV series? You can fall in love with the boss at a glance? Although the boss is a little handsome, he can't be so inhumane." While Ji Fubao was talking, he suddenly saw Nalan Wuxia kiss Qin Haodong on the face. He was stunned and his mouth was wide open enough to fit an apple. Tian Boguang was also surprised, and then he said proudly, "How is it? I'm right, this policewoman has fallen in love with the boss." The other 3 girls also saw this scene. Li Meiyu said angrily, "This pervert seduces women everywhere. He doesn't even let the police go." Zhou Xinju's expression was very strange. This young man's performance had repeatedly exceeded her expectations. He was really an interesting person. However, Su Hui didn't change at all. It was as if she didn't see it. She was thinking about how to learn medical skills from Qin Haodong. She didn't care about anything else. Qin Haodong wiped his cheek that had been kissed, and said with a wry smile, "How am I going to explain this to my classmates when I go back? This is called stamping. It proves that you are mine." Nalan Wuxia stuck out her tongue at him, then turned around and left. As soon as Qin Haodong returned to the ward, Ji Fubao and Tian Boguang immediately rushed up to him. "Boss, it's the first time we met, and you made the policewoman take the initiative to kiss you. It's really amazing. From today on you are my idol. Boss, how did you do it? Hurry up and teach me. I don't want to be single anymore." Looking at Ji Fubao's appearance, he was almost lying on the ground and hugging Qin Haodong's thigh. Tian Boguang said, "Don't make things difficult for the boss. The woman who will be crushed by you hasn't been born yet. Even the gods can't save you. How dare you talk to me like that? Fat bro will fight it out with you." As Ji Fubao spoke, he pounced on Tian Boguang. Ignoring the 2 clowns, Qin Haodong said to Zhou Xinju, "Miss Zhou, I'll have to trouble you with the rest. Don't worry, I'll take care of it. I'll ask someone to take Mrs. Zhang to the nursing home immediately. I promise you'll see your classmates tomorrow morning. Miss Zhou, thank you. In the future, don't call me Miss Zhou. It sounds too distant. Just call me Xinju." Zhou Xinju smiled at Qin Haodong, and then left with her people. As soon as she left, Su Hui said to Qin Haodong, "I want to cancel the challenge. I admit defeat. My medical skills are too inferior to yours." Qin Haodong breathed a sigh of relief. This was for the best. Otherwise, it would be troublesome to be challenged by this woman all the time. But before he could be happy, he heard Su Hui say, "I want to be your disciple and learn medical skills from you. We're all classmates. This isn't very suitable. Besides, your grandfather is so powerful. You should learn more from him." Qin Haodong really didn't plan to accept a disciple. He didn't want to accept a female disciple as soon as he opened the school. The school is the school, and I'm an individual. Being a classmate doesn't prevent me from becoming your disciple. Besides, my grandfather's medical skills are not as good as yours. That's not suitable either." "Why is it not suitable?" "Because there's a rule in our school that it's passed on to men and not to women." In the face of this stubborn girl, Qin Haodong could only make up an excuse. "I don't care. Anyway, I want to learn medical skills from you." Su Hui's eyes were firm. Her persistence was beyond Qin Haodong's imagination. Let's go back first. We'll talk about this later." Qin Haodong followed the principle of stalling as long as he could. He took a few people out of the hospital. After arriving at the gate, he said to Ji Fubao and Tian Boguang, "You two send Su Hui back to the girls' dormitory. Meiyu and I will take a taxi." "Don't worry, boss. We will definitely complete the task." Ji Fubao loved to be a protector. But before he finished speaking, he heard Su Hui say, "You two take a taxi back. I'll go with them." Qin Haodong asked in surprise, "Who are you going with? Where are you going?" Su Hui said, "Of course I'm going with you. I'll follow you until you accept me as your disciple." Qin Haodong was speechless. Why did this woman do this again? She would follow him without saying a word. "Boss, then we'll go first. Good luck." Ji Fubao and Tian Buguang waved to Qin Haodong together, and then got into a taxi. Get in the car, Su Hui said as she opened the door of her BMW. Qin Haodong shook his head helplessly. He knew that he definitely couldn't get rid of this girl today, so he could only take her home with him. Fortunately, there were already 3 girls at home, including Li Meiyu, so it was not particularly embarrassing. After returning home, he introduced Su Hui to Jia Shirhan. Then, he turned around and went into the bathroom to take a shower and go to bed. Unexpectedly, when he returned to his room, he was surprised to see Su Hui sitting at the head of his bed. What are you doing here? This is my room. I know this is your room. I just want to learn medical skills from you. Su Hui's tone was very calm, but there was stubbornness in her eyes. Qin Haodong was the first man who could subdue her in so many years. Big sister, it's almost midnight. Let's go to bed first. We'll talk about it tomorrow, okay? I don't care. If you don't teach me medical skills, I'll stay here forever. Facing such a delicate beauty, Qin Haodong couldn't beat or scold her. He really had no way to deal with her. I told you that the sect has a rule that women are not allowed to be taught. This time, Su Hui seemed to be too lazy to even speak. She directly turned her face to the side, as if she would not give up until she achieved her goal. Well, you win. Qin Haodong really couldn't do anything about this woman. He turned around and went to the desk. He took out a pen and paper and began to write. 10 minutes later, he handed 2 pieces of A4 paper full of words to Su Hui. This is for you. Take it back and practice first. Su Hui's face lit up. She took the A4 paper and saw a few big words written on it. 9 magical needles of plum blossom. This needle technique was obtained by Qin Haodong from the cultivation world. It was from a female cultivator named Plum Blossom Fairy. It was one of the few needles in his memory that did not use genuine qi as the foundation. It was just right for Su Hui to learn. Su Hui took the A4 paper and looked at it. She was a medical genius, so she soon saw the mystery of this needle technique. She was immediately overjoyed and said, "Thank you, master." Qin Haodong quickly said, "This needle technique is not mine. I just want you to learn it. You don't need to worship me as your master. We are still classmates." At this time, Su Hui didn't care so much. She hurriedly took the 9 magical needles of plum blossom back to her room and began to learn seriously. Qin Haodong breathed a sigh of relief. Finally, a problem was solved. The next morning, as soon as he went out, he saw Su Hui standing in front of the door with 2 panda eyes, holding the 2 pieces of A4 paper in her hands. He asked in surprise, "You didn't sleep all night?" Although Su Hui looked a little haggard, she was very excited. She said, "This 9 magical needles of plum blossom is too profound. I barely remember it after learning for a whole night. There are still a few things I don't understand. Can you tell me?" Qin Haodong agreed with her diligent spirit. He let her into the room and began to talk about it one by one. Finally, Su Hui solved all the questions in her stomach. Looking at the handsome face in front of her, her heart was full of admiration. She had thought that her medical skills were the best among her peers, but she didn't expect that Qin Haodong was so much better than her. He was more than enough to be her teacher. "Thank you, teacher," Qin Haodong quickly said. "Don't say that. It's hard to explain if others hear it. Just call me Qin Haodong. It's not very polite to call you by your name. Then I'll call you Brother Haodong." "Okay." Qin Haodong nodded and agreed. At this moment, there was a knock on the door. "Hurry up and get up to cook." It was Li Meiyu who knocked on the door. Since she had tasted Qin Haodong's cooking, other breakfasts had become tasteless, so she came early to ask him to cook. Qin Haodong opened the door and Li Meiyu said, "What time is it? Why don't you go and cook? I'll tell your secret to Shirhan." While she was talking, she suddenly saw Su Hui sitting at the head of the bed. She opened her mouth in surprise at first, and then shouted angrily, "You pervert! You seduced me yesterday, and now you're sleeping with Su Hui? You said you wanted to pursue me, you big liar." Qin Haodong said that he wanted to pursue Li Meiyu, but it was just an excuse. He didn't take it seriously at all, and Li Meiyu didn't take it seriously at first. But for some reason, When she saw Nalan Wuxia kissing Qin Haodong yesterday, she felt a little uncomfortable. Now when she saw Su Hui in Qin Haodong's room in the morning, she thought that they had lived together for one night. Jealousy surged in her heart for no reason, and then it exploded. No, you misunderstood. It's not what you think. Qin Haodong didn't want to be misunderstood by Li Meiyu. That would not only hinder his future task, but also ruin Su Hui's reputation. But Li Meiyu didn't give him a chance to explain at all. She shouted angrily again. How dare you say no? Look at Su Hui. She was bullied by you. She must have stayed up all night. In her opinion, Su Hui's panda eyes must have been tormented by Qin Haodong. What are you talking about? Can you please listen to me? Qin Haodong stretched out his hands and pressed Li Meiyu's shoulders tightly. He shouted, Su Hui just came here and asked me for advice on acupuncture. Don't talk nonsense. At this time, Su Hui also came over with an A4 paper and said, Brother Haodong taught me this set of acupuncture last night. I have something I don't understand this morning, so I came to ask you. Don't misunderstand. Only then did Li Meiyu come to her senses. She looked at the A4 paper full of words, and saw that the two of them were dressed neatly. It didn't seem that they had slept together. She suddenly felt extremely embarrassed. Fortunately, she reacted quickly and said embarrassedly, Su Hui, don't take it to heart. I was just joking with this guy. I'm fine. It's okay if it's a misunderstanding. I'll go back and study this set of acupuncture. Then Su Hui went back to her room. Qin Haodong looked at Li Meiyu with a playful face and said, Are you sure you were just joking? You're not really jealous? Jealous? How can I be jealous of you? You can sleep with whoever you want. It has nothing to do with me. Hurry up and cook for me. Li Meiyu put her hands on her hips and shouted to Qin Haodong, I want to eat fried eggs with more vinegar. Got it. More vinegar. Qin Haodong laughed and went into the kitchen. Chapter 491. Looking at his back as he left, Li Meiyu had a big question mark in her heart. What happened to me just now? Why am I so angry? Did I really fall in love with him? Impossible. That's impossible. Li Meiyu immediately denied this idea. Although this guy was handsome, he was completely different from the Prince Charming in her impression. I must be angry because I can't stand this guy's flirting. Yes, that must be it. After finding a suitable reason, she went back to her room with a clear conscience. In the Dongqing District Detention Center, Dai Hongbing was completely insomnia. After Qin Haodong and the others left, he didn't think that his classmates could save him. However, this classmate whom he had met for the first time gave him a very trustworthy feeling. He was just an ordinary college student who came here full of hope, but because of a brave act of righteousness, he encountered an unexpected disaster. He had also been angry and hateful, but he still couldn't extinguish the kindness in his heart. As he had said to Qin Haodong, if he encountered such a situation again, he would still lend a helping hand. Unconsciously, the night quietly faded, and the morning sun rose from the horizon. The golden sunlight shone through the iron bars like a spider's web into the prison room. Suddenly, the iron door of the prison room was opened from the outside. A prison guard shouted, Dai Hongbing, come out. Yes, Dai Hongbing had adapted to the life here in the past few days. After agreeing, he immediately walked out of the prison door, then stretched out his hands, waiting to be handcuffed. The prison guard glanced at him and said with a smile, You don't need to be handcuffed this time. You have been acquitted. What? What did you say? Dai Hongbing was completely stunned. He couldn't believe his ears. His hands were still stretched forward, like a petrified statue. Your case has been thoroughly investigated. You were wronged. Now you are acquitted. Dai Hongbing grabbed the prison guard's hand and said in a choked voice, You mean my case has been investigated? I am acquitted. Is it true? Is it true? He was so emotional that his face was already covered with tears of joy. A man with a pure heart was imprisoned. During this period of time, only he knew how much suffering his heart had endured. There were many times in the past when he wanted to collapse, and even wanted to commit suicide. But it was all supported by his conviction. Now because of the words acquitted, He completely collapsed in tears. Soon, a trace of doubt arose in his heart. Why was he acquitted at this time? Could it be because of that classmate from yesterday? Although I can't guarantee that good people will be rewarded, I can guarantee that you will receive fair treatment. Qin Haodong's firm words rang in his ears. Yes, it's him, it must be him. He's the one who made me see the light of day again. He's the one who made me regain my innocence. He followed the prison guard out of the detention center. The moment he stepped out of the door, he felt like everything was a dream. He was acquitted and could continue his university dream. He gave me all of this, Dai Hongbing murmured, his clear eyes flashing with a strange light. At the Shanghai Medical College, the sun rose and the golden sunlight shone on the entire campus. On the sports field, freshmen in brand new military uniforms were waiting for the start of their military training with smiles on their faces. The military training was based on each class. The students of the Chinese medicine practitioners class also came to the training field one after another and gathered in the position assigned to their class by the school. Qin Haodong walked down the training field. Li Meiyu and Su Hui, the two campus belles, were accompanying him on both sides, which made him particularly eye-catching. Boss, you're here. After seeing him, Tian Boguang immediately rushed up, put his arm around Qin Haodong's shoulder, and said in his ear, Boss, you've won over the two belles of our class so quickly. You should be called Tian Boguang. The name rapist is more suitable for you. Get out of here. Qin Haodong punched Tian Boguang on the shoulder, and then said to Ji Fubao, who ran over, Fatty, did you bring Hongbing's military uniform? Yes, I brought it. I'm holding it. Ji Fubao said as he delivered a brand new military uniform to Qin Haodong. He was also wearing a military uniform. Although it was the largest size in the whole school, it was still pitifully small for him. It was as tight as if it had been stolen. It could burst at any time. Qin Haodong nodded and said, Get the clothes ready. Dai Hongbing can change into them when he comes. None of our brothers in the 508 dormitory can be missing. As soon as he finished speaking, he heard a sarcastic voice next to him saying, A fool locked up in the detention center. How could he come? He must be dreaming. They turned their heads and saw that the 4 people from the 510 dormitory had arrived. The one who spoke behind them was Zhang Jichao. Ji Fubao looked at them, stared at them and said, What did you say? Say it again if you have the guts. I dare to say it 10 times, let alone once. Zhang Jichao looked at Ji Fubao sarcastically. Your dormitory 508 is really a weirdo. You're fat, and the one who was arrested is fat. These days, who doesn't hide from the old lady when they see her? He actually dared to go up and help her. Now he has been arrested and sent to the detention center. Isn't he stupid? What is being forced? Did I wrong him? After he finished speaking, the people in the 510 dormitory laughed together. Only then did the other students next to them understand why there was one less person in the 508 dormitory. It turned out that he had been arrested and sent to the detention center for helping the old lady. Wang Haiqiang turned his head and looked at Fang Xiaoping. Boss, do you think our dormitory is stupid? Isn't it dangerous to be so close to her? What if her IQ is lowered? His voice was very loud. It was obvious that he was mocking Qin Haodong and the others. After that, the 4 of them laughed at the same time. What is it funny? A cold and gloomy voice rang out beside them. Qin Haodong glanced at the people in the 510 dormitory. His eyes were full of coldness, and his gaze was as cold as a knife. Zhang Jichao glanced at Qin Haodong and said with a sneer, I'm just telling the truth. Is there anything wrong with that? Apologize. Qin Haodong stared at Zhang Jichao. Apologize? Are you kidding me? Zhang Jichao laughed exaggeratedly. Brothers, did you hear that? He actually made me look like a fool, forcing me to apologize? Looking at these people's faces, Li Meiyu was also very angry. However, she knew Qin Haodong's strength. She knew that it was more than enough to deal with these guys, so she didn't say anything. She just watched coldly from the side. Su Hui saw the tutor, Zhang Xiaoyan, walking over from afar. She was afraid that Qin Haodong would be at a disadvantage, So she grabbed his arm and said to Zhang Jichao and the others, "How can you insult your classmates like this? Hurry up and apologize to Brother Haodong." Seeing that Su Hui had actually hugged Qin Haodong's arm in public, her chest, which had made him drool countless times, was tightly pressed against his arm. Fang Xiaoping's face suddenly became extremely ugly. Brother Haodong? This title made his heart burn with jealousy. Su Hui had always been a goddess in his heart. He had been pursuing her for several years, but he had never gotten a good look from her. Now, she was calling him Brother Haodong and throwing herself into the arms of another man. Seeing that the boss's expression had become ugly, Zhang Jichao immediately understood what was going on. He said to Su Hui, "This is a matter between us men. It has nothing to do with you." Su Hui said angrily, "You." Qin Haodong reached out and pulled her behind him. "That's right. This is a matter between us men. Let us solve it ourselves." But Su Hui still wanted to say something, but Li Meiyu pulled her and said, "Su Hui, let Haodong solve it." Qin Haodong took 2 steps forward and arrived in front of Zhang Jichao. He said coldly, "You must apologize today, or you will have to bear the consequences." Zhang Jichao was 185 meters tall and had a strong body. He looked much stronger than Qin Haodong. He said disdainfully, "Then I'd like to see what the consequences will be." At the same time, Fang Xiaoping and the others surrounded them. Ji Fubao and Tian Boguang also stood behind Qin Haodong. The atmosphere suddenly became tense. Seeing that the tension between the two people was getting stronger and stronger, the students next to them all stepped forward to dissuade them. "Don't hurt the harmony." "Let's talk about it. You will be punished for fighting. The military training is about to begin. If the news of the fight gets out, others will laugh at our Chinese medicine practitioners class. You must calm down. Don't leave a bad impression on the instructor." Qin Haodong stared at Zhang Jichao and said, "I'll say it one last time. Apologize." In Zhang Jichao's view, Qin Haodong was timid. He said proudly, "If you want to fight, then fight. What are you waiting for? Let me tell you, I never care if the other party is the class monitor or not." At that moment the instructor, Zhang Xiaoyan, rushed over. "What are you doing?" Zhang Xiaoyan found that something was wrong. She ran over and said while panting, "You're fighting in your own class. That's ridiculous." Her expression was unprecedentedly serious. On the first day of the military training, her own class was going to fight. It was definitely not a glorious thing. Zhang Jichao spread out his hands and said, "Teacher Zhang, you can't blame me. Someone is looking for trouble with me." Before he could finish speaking, he suddenly found a huge fist in front of him. Then it smashed hard on the bridge of his nose. With a muffled bang, Zhang Jichao took 4 or 5 steps back. Then he covered his nose. Blood flowed through his fingers. It could be seen that the punch was not light. It was Qin Haodong who did it. He withdrew his fist, looked at Zhang Jichao and said, "I only care about right or wrong when I hit you. I don't care if the teacher is present or not." Domineering. It was too domineering. For a moment, everyone was shocked by Qin Haodong. They all looked at him with their mouths agape. He dared to hit someone in front of the teacher. Moreover, he hit him so hard. There was no one else like him. Ji Fubao secretly felt satisfied. If the teacher wasn't next to him, he would also rush up and fight. He wanted to show them how powerful the fat brother was. On the opposite side, Zhang Jichao kept screaming while covering his nose. Fang Xiaoping and the others glared at Qin Haodong. "Qin Haodong, why did you hit me? I'm not done with you today." Fang Xiaoping was about to rush towards Qin Haodong, but he was stopped by a few students next to him. The students from the other classes also noticed the situation over here, and they all cast curious gazes over. "All of you shut up." Zhang Xiaoyan took 2 steps forward and stood in the middle of the 2 groups of people. She said angrily, "What are you doing? Do you still have me in your eyes?" Seeing that the teacher was angry, Fang Xiaoping suddenly quieted down a lot. He didn't want to rush up and fight anymore. However, his eyes were still full of hostility and anger when he looked at Qin Haodong. Zhang Jichao used a large ball of toilet paper to stop the blood from his nostrils. He looked at Qin Haodong with eyes full of hatred. Tell me, what the hell is going on? Zhang Xiaoyan said angrily. The military training is about to begin. The instructor is already on the way. If the instructor finds out that you are fighting before the training begins, what will happen to you? Chapter 492. My roommate acted bravely to save the old lady, but he slandered my roommate and said that we were all fools. He deserved to be locked up in the detention center. I asked him to apologize several times, but he didn't listen. Qin Haodong pointed at Zhang Jichao and said, slandering good people at will. This kind of person naturally deserves to be beaten. Zhang Xiaoyan's face suddenly became cold. Although Dai Hongbing was now locked up in the detention center, and the matter had not been finalized, anyone with a conscience would stand on Dai Hongbing's side. She turned to look at Zhang Jichao. Is that so? Zhang Jichao knew that he was in the wrong. In front of the teacher, he stammered for a long time without saying a word. Acting bravely? What a joke. Why would he be locked up in the detention center? At that time, Fang Xiaoping jumped out and said plausibly, Teacher, we always believe that the police are fair and that the law is fair. Since he was arrested and put in the detention center, we can't say that he was acting bravely. Since he was arrested and put in the detention center, we can't say that he is a good person. This guy was very smart. He directly changed the concept to that they believed in the law. This made Zhang Xiaoyan speechless for a while. Qin Haodong said, You think too much. My roommate Dai Hongbing is only cooperating with the police in the detention center. Now that the investigation is clear, he is acting bravely. He will be acquitted soon, and will come back to participate in military training soon. Acquitted? Fang Xiaoping curled his lips disdainfully and sneered. Are you still dreaming? Are you talking in your sleep? He is a poor guy from another place. He has no money, no background, no connections. He wants to come out of the detention center. Maybe in his next life. Who said he has no background or connections? Qin Haodong suddenly raised his voice, looked directly at Fang Xiaoping and said, Our dormitory 508 is Dai Hongbing's background, and I am his connection. With us brothers, Dai Hongbing will come back soon. His words were extremely domineering. Ji Fubao and Tian Boguang felt their blood boil. They also shouted, Our dormitory 508 is his background, and our boss is his connection. You want to save Dai Hongbing with just the few of you? Fang Xiaoping's eyes were full of disdain. He looked at Qin Haodong sarcastically and said, If Dai Hongbing can come back for military training, then I will change my surname to yours. At that moment someone shouted, Look, the principal is here. Everyone looked in the direction the person was pointing at, and saw the principal, Ho Wenbin, walking over. Behind him was a young man with glasses, delicate features, and an excited look on his face. This is going to be troublesome. This matter has been blown up. If the principal really gets involved, the consequences will be severe, right? Of course. I want to see Qin Haodong suffer today. I don't think so. The principal has a smile on his face. And who is the person behind him? While everyone was talking about it, Qin Haodong, Ji Fubao, and Tian Boguang quickly ran over. What are they doing there? Don't tell me you're trying to accuse me first? I don't think so. He must have taken the initiative to apologize to the principal and ask for leniency. While everyone was guessing, Qin Haodong ignored Ho Wenbin, who was walking in front of him. Instead, he rushed to the young man behind him, Dai Hongbing, who had just been released from prison. He first gave Dai Hongbing a big hug, then said, Welcome back, brothers of the 508 dormitory. Ji Fubao and Tian Boguang shouted together, Welcome back, brothers of the 508 dormitory. So this person is Dai Hongbing from the 508 dormitory? He's really here. It seems that the 510 dormitory is wrong. He must have acted bravely for a just cause. Otherwise, how could he have been released? Didn't Fang Xiaoping just say that as long as Dai Hongbing could get out of prison, he would follow Qin Haodong's surname? It seems that we have to call him Qin Xiaoping in the future. Hearing the discussion around them, The faces of the 4 people in the 510 dormitory suddenly became as ugly as it could get. Feng Xiaoping looked at Zhang Jichao and said, "Didn't your uncle say that he couldn't get out?" Zhang Jichao said with a bitter face, "My uncle is in the traffic police. He speculated that Dai Hongbing couldn't get out in this situation. Who knows how this kid got out?" Cough, cough, cough. Ho Wenbin, who was standing next to them, couldn't help but cough a few times. These guys didn't even regard the principal as a cadre. They directly ignored him. Zhang Xiaoyan walked over and said, "Principal Ho, what's going on?" Ho Wenbin said, "Teacher Zhang, this year, the students in your class have won great honor for the school. Just now, the Public Security Bureau has determined that Dai Hongbing acted bravely for a just cause. Look, this is his award certificate and bonus." As he spoke, he handed a big red certificate and a craft envelope to Zhang Xiaoyan. "We must praise the students who have won honor for our school. The military training team will arrive in half an hour. I'll go and prepare." After Ho Wenbin left, Dai Hongbing suddenly became the focus of the audience. Qin Haodong took the brand new military uniform and handed it to Dai Hongbing. He said, "Brother, change your clothes first." "Thank you." Dai Hongbing looked at Qin Haodong gratefully. Then he took the military uniform and went to the side to change his clothes. Ji Fubao turned around and looked at Feng Xiaoping proudly. He said, "Should I call you Qin Xiaoping now? Everyone heard what you said just now. You won't deny it, right?" Feng Xiaoping's face was red. He had been slapped in the face in less than a minute. He couldn't deny it even if he wanted to. However, he couldn't let go of his pride to admit it himself. Qin Haodong patted Ji Fubao on the shoulder and said, "Forget it. Let's pretend that nothing happened. I don't want to have the same surname as this guy. It's too shameful." Ji Fubao nodded with an expression of extreme agreement. "Boss, you're right. I don't want his surname to be Ji." Tian Boguang followed and said, "That's right. I can't afford to lose my surname." "You guys." Seeing that he was being ridiculed unscrupulously, Feng Xiaoping was so angry that his eyes were about to burst into flames. However, he couldn't do anything about it. Who told him to be so mean just now? Okay, stop arguing. Let bygones be bygones. Don't hold on to it. Zhang Xiaoyan said, "You are all classmates. You must be united. There will be 2 new students coming to register soon. Everyone, get ready to welcome them." "New students? It's already this time. Why are there new students coming to register?" "Yeah, they're too late. They're even later than Dai Hongbing. They can't be beauties, right? Although the 2 in our class are both top-grade beauties, there are too few of them." Amidst the discussion, 2 graceful figures appeared on the training ground and slowly walked towards the Chinese medicine practitioners class. As soon as the 2 of them appeared, they immediately attracted the attention of all the students on the training ground, because they were so beautiful. Although they were wearing a large military uniform, it still couldn't hide their curvy and graceful figures. The most important thing was that their looks were off the charts. They were definitely the best among beauties. Who are they? Could they be freshmen in our class? Tell me quickly, which class are they from? I'd rather transfer to another class. They're so beautiful. I'm going to die. I've never seen such beautiful women. Under many wolf-like gazes, the 2 of them walked all the way to the front of the Chinese medicine practitioners class. "Boss, look, there are beauties." Ji Fubao immediately showed a perverted expression. He pulled Qin Haodong's arm and said. Qin Haodong turned around and suddenly froze there, as if he had been frozen. Tian Boguang looked at Qin Haodong and said with a smile, "Boss, I thought you were experienced and knowledgeable. I didn't expect you to be like this when you see beauties." Li Mei reached out and pinched Qin Haodong's waist hard. She said with a little jealousy, "What? Are they more beautiful than me and Su Hui?" Only then did Qin Haodong come to his senses. He quickly said, No, you're the most beautiful." In terms of appearance, Li Meiyu, Su Hui and the 2 new women were almost the same. They were all 100% beauties. The only difference was their temperament. The reason why Qin Haodong was absent-minded was that he knew both of them. They were Nailan Wushuang and Qi Wan-er. He had never expected that these two girls would also follow him to the Shanghai Medical College. At this time, the two of them also saw Qin Haodong. They secretly winked at him with a funny smile on their faces. It seemed that they had made this plan a long time ago, but they didn't tell Qin Haodong. But this was also good. Today was the first day of military training. Originally, he was worried about what to do tonight. Now Nailan Wushuang and Qi Wan-er were in the same dormitory as Li Meiyu. In this way, Qin Haodong didn't need to squat outside the girls' dormitory. Zhang Xiaoyan introduced the two of them to the students. "Everyone, let's welcome the new students to our group." Suddenly, there was a thunderous applause. The arrival of such two great beauties made the male creatures in the class want to clap their hands until they were swollen. "The drill master will be here soon. Everyone, hurry up and get ready." After Zhang Xiaoyan finished speaking, she turned around and walked to the rostrum. Military training was a big event, and the school still had a lot of work to arrange. Nailan Wushuang and Qi Wan-er naturally stood with Li Meiyu and Su Hui. Women were really strange creatures. Although the four of them had just met, they quickly got along as if they had been friends for many years. The four beautiful women gathered together, which almost lit up the whole training ground. Their every frown and smile could attract the eyes of many male creatures, which also made the boys in other classes extremely envious. Why are there so many goddesses but none of them are in our class? No, I can't stand it anymore. I want to change departments. I want to study traditional Chinese medicine. Qin Haodong knew that Nailan Wushuang and Qi Wan-er didn't take the initiative to talk to him because they wanted to keep their identities secret. So he didn't go over to greet them. Ji Fubao approached him and said, "Boss, what are you doing? There are so many beautiful women. Why don't you look at them?" Tian Buoguang said with a smirk, "Yes, boss. Is it because sister-in-law is here that you don't dare to do anything? Let me tell you, the red flag at home is not falling, and the colorful flags fluttering outside is the way of the king." Qin Haodong glared at them and said, "What are you talking about? I'm a serious person." Ji Fubao said with a smile, I know. Boss is not a human when he's serious." While they were talking and laughing, Tian Buoguang suddenly said, "Boss, look, Fang Xiaoping is going over. He probably wants to do something to the two new beauties." Qin Haodong turned his head and saw Fang Xiaoping making a pose that he thought was very handsome. He was walking toward Nailan Wushuang and Qi Wan-er. He couldn't help but have a playful smile on the corner of his mouth. He could guess the result without looking. This guy must be asking to be humiliated. Fang Xiaoping really thought so. When Su Hui called him Brother Haodong just now, he completely dispelled the idea of this woman. After chasing after Qin Haodong for so many years, there was no effect at all. She had just met Qin Haodong for a day, and then she fell into his arms. There were so many beautiful women, so there was no need to hang on to one tree. For example, the two newcomers in front of him were not bad. Chapter 493. In Fang Xiaoping's opinion, the reason why he couldn't get Su Hui was that Su Hui was too excellent. Her family background was no worse than his, and her talent had always been better than his. But these two newcomers were different. With his family background and appearance, as long as he extended an olive branch, the other party would definitely accept it. They might even throw themselves into his arms. The more he thought about it, the more confident he became. His eyes kept moving between Nailan Wushuang and Qi Wan-er. These two women were too outstanding, which made it difficult for him to choose. After considering for a while, he finally chose Qi Wan-er, who looked more charming and lovely. He felt that a girl with this kind of appearance would definitely be timid and have a good temper. After making up his mind, he stepped toward Qi Wan-er. "Hello, Qi Wan-er. Let me introduce myself. My name is Fang Xiaoping. My grandfather is Professor Zhang Heluan of the Chinese medicine department of our college." Su Hui frowned slightly. It was not because she was unhappy that Fang Xiaoping was chatting up other girls, but because she was disgusted by his behavior of putting old Master Fang in front of him. Because of this, although they grew up together, they had never been nice to Fang Xiaoping. Chi Waner glanced at Fang Xiaoping and said, "What can I do for you?" Fang Xiaoping said elegantly, "Waner, I feel like I found my whole world when I see you. You're so beautiful. Can you tell me your phone number?" He felt that his words were so outstanding that he would definitely be able to stir up this girl's heart. In fact, he was disappointed. Chi Waner said lightly, "I'm sorry. I'm me. It has nothing to do with you. I can't tell you my phone number." The smile on Fang Xiaoping's face froze instantly. He didn't expect that Chi Waner would refuse him without any consideration. It was okay for Su Hui to refuse him. But why did this newcomer also refuse him? He asked subconsciously why. At this time, their conversation had attracted the attention of the surrounding students. Everyone looked over and wanted to see how the new female student would answer. Under the gaze of many eyes, Chi Waner showed a strange smile on her face. "Because you're too ugly." Haha. The surrounding students burst into laughter, which attracted the attention of other classes. They all looked over. "Too ugly." Ji Fubao laughed and said, "This female student is really discerning. She saw the essence at a glance. I also think this guy is too ugly." Tian Boguang laughed and said, "It's really hard for some people to pretend to be handsome even though they are so ugly. Doesn't he have a mirror at home? Don't you look at yourself in the toilet when you wake up in the morning?" Faced with the sarcastic eyes around him, Fang Xiaoping suddenly lost his composure. He shouted angrily at Ji Fubao and Tian Boguang, "What are you talking about? Who said I was ugly? Are you more handsome than me?" Ji Fubao said with a smile. "There's something wrong with your brain. Didn't you hear what he just said? If you weren't ugly, how could you be rejected by Chi Waner?" "You." Fang Xiaoping was so angry that his face was like a pig's liver. He shouted angrily, "Try it if you have the ability. If you don't refuse, I'll do whatever you want." He had always been proud and arrogant. He thought that if he couldn't win Chi Waner's heart, others wouldn't be able to. Ji Fubao shouted, "If one of us succeeds, you will admit in public that you are a pile of shit. No problem. If you don't succeed, you will have to apologize to me for what you said just now." Fang Xiaoping was also angry and agreed without hesitation. Everyone heard it. He said it himself. After that, he turned to Qin Haodong and the others and said, "Brothers, my task is completed. The rest is up to you. Don't let me lose face." Qin Haodong was speechless. This fat man is really good. After attracting the hatred, he turned around and threw it to me. Dai Hongbing said with a red face, "I can't do that. I haven't had a girlfriend yet." Tian Boguang said, "Don't look at me. I don't have that ability. If you want to win that girl, I think only the boss can do it himself." Ji Fubao grabbed Qin Haodong's hand and said, "Boss, we are all counting on you. Don't let our 508 dormitory lose face." Zhang Jichao had just wiped the blood from his nose. When he saw Qin Haodong, he gritted his teeth and said, "He is just a pretty boy who is good at sneak attacks. Even our boss has been rejected. How can he succeed?" Qin Haodong looked at him playfully and said, "Boy, watch carefully. Today, I will show you what it means to pick up a girl. Asking for her phone number is nothing at all. I can make her call me husband directly." Fang Jiping said angrily, "Keep bragging. Aren't you afraid that the wind will slap your tongue?" In his opinion, it was an impossible task to make someone call him husband the first time they met. Qin Haodong ignored him and walked toward Chi Waner under the attention of everyone. Chi Waner also turned her head to look at him with an unreadable smile on her face. Qin Haodong came in front of Chi Waner and raised his hand to hold her smooth chin. Smooth chin, mimicking the middle of the TV. He said with a smile and a mischievous tone, "Girl, you look good. Call me husband." F***CK, how is this picking up a girl? Isn't he courting death? I guess Chi Waner will slap him in the face. He's really overestimating himself. If he just asked for her phone number, he might have succeeded. Now, he can only be rejected. Just when everyone was pessimistic about Qin Haodong's chances, a shocking scene appeared. "You're so annoying. You're making me so embarrassed." Chi Waner looked at him charmingly and then said in a sweet voice, "Husband, I miss you." That was not all. After that, she took the initiative to kiss Qin Haodong's cheek again. F***ck, what did I just see? F***ck, that works too? I'm still a single dog. Is it because I was too conservative when I was chatting with girls before? It seems that I have to change my strategy in the future. I must be bolder and more shameless when chasing after girls. The glasses of everyone present were shattered. No one had expected that Qin Haodong would actually succeed. Fang Xiaoping didn't expect this to happen. The girl who refused him without hesitation actually accepted Qin Haodong. What was going on? Was being a gigolo so popular now? Boss is mighty. Boss is simply too mighty. Ji Fubao raised his voice and shouted desperately. Tian Boguang shouted, Boss, please accept my knee. You're my idol. Seeing that his side had won, Ji Fubao turned to Fang Xiaoping and shouted, Boy, everyone has seen it. Now it's time for you to fulfill your promise. Confess your true identity to everyone. In fact, you're just a pile of sh*t. You. Fang Xiaoping's face was so red that it seemed that blood was about to drip down. He was the one who said it. Moreover, with so many people watching, he couldn't go back on his words now, could he? However, he couldn't admit that he was a pile of sh*t. Seeing that his boss was embarrassed, Wang Haiqiang, who was next to him, rolled his eyes and said, You're all wrong. In fact, our boss is not talking about Qi Wan but another new girl. You have to let her kiss you. Yes, Fang Xiaoping quickly said. That's what I meant just now. Ji Fubao suddenly became angry and scolded. Can't you people from the 510 dormitory have some shame? Why did you change your mind as soon as you finished talking? Tian Boguang also shouted, That's right. We were talking about Qi Wan just now. Why did you change it to Nalan Wushuang now? Are your words bullsh*t? Amidst the noise around him, Fang Xiaoping was embarrassed at first, then he shouted, Anyway, that's what I meant. It's your business if you don't understand. Qin Haodong stopped Ji Fubao and Tian Boguang and said to him, Are you sure this time? If I succeed again, you won't deny it, right? Impossible, that's impossible. If you can succeed again, I will fulfill my promise. Fang Xiaoping kept shaking his head. In any case, he wouldn't believe that Qin Haodong could conquer two beautiful women in succession, unless they were both crazy. That's what you said. Remember, don't take your words as bullsh*t. After Qin Haodong said that, he turned around and walked towards Nalan Wushuang. Following his footsteps, many people's hearts were in their mouths. The single dogs in the Chinese medicine practitioners class began to pray silently. My goddess, you must refuse him. Leave the opportunity to me. God, don't let this guy succeed again. Leave us some food to eat. It turned out that God did not pay attention to these people's prayers. The scene that everyone didn't want to see happened again. Before Qin Haodong could reach her, Nalan Wushuang took the initiative to rush up to him. She stretched out her arms to hold Qin Haodong's neck and kissed him on the other cheek. Her yearning for him for the past few days was all in this kiss. Heavens, please kill me. My goddess, why did you fall again? Is there any justice in this world? This is outrageous. This gigolo boy. I'm going to fight him to the death. At that time, Qin Haodong had become the public enemy of all male creatures. The 4 girls in the Chinese medicine practitioners class were all beautiful women, but now they were all gathered around him. Did he have any sense of civility when he occupied so many beautiful women? Did he consider the feelings of the other single dogs? No matter what other people thought, Qin Haodong won the bet easily again. Ji Fubao suddenly jumped in front of Fang Xiaoping and laughed. Boy, did you see our boss's power? What else do you have to say this time? At that time, Fang Xiaoping's heart collapsed. Why? Why do these women like this gigolo boy? Why doesn't anyone like me? Tian Boguang came over and said, Fang Xiaoping, hurry up and announce your identity. Everyone can't wait. Are you going to go back on your word? Fang Xiaoping's mouth was wide open, but he couldn't say anything. In any case, he couldn't admit that he was a pile of sh*t in public. In the end, he stomped his feet, turned his head, and hid on the other side of the crowd. Ji Fubao and Tian Boguang wanted to chase after him, but they were stopped by Qin Haodong. Ji Fubao shouted angrily. Boss, don't stop us. We're going to find this shameless guy to settle the score. Qin Haodong said, forget it. It doesn't matter if I say it or not. In everyone's eyes, he is already a pile of sh*t. Tian Buoguang suddenly laughed and shouted, Boss, you're right. Whether he admits it or not, he is a pile of sh*t in our eyes. Fang Xiaoping was hiding in the corner. At that time, his face was ashen. He had been completely defeated today, and he had been defeated very miserably. If he admitted that he was a pile of sh*t in public, there would be no reputation to speak of. Just like now, he was hiding in the corner and refusing to admit it. His image of denying it would also plummet. It would be impossible for him to run for class monitor again. Chapter 494. Several people from the 510 dormitory gathered around Fang Xiaoping. Zhang Jiqiao said, Boss, no matter what you think, I can't take this lying down. Fang Xiaoping was silent for a moment, and his expression slowly returned to normal. He said, It doesn't matter. This is just the beginning. There will be plenty of opportunities in the future. Li Guojun said, Boss is right. Although those guys have the upper hand now, the military training is coming soon. Their quality can't be compared with our dormitory at all. When the time comes, we can teach them a lesson and show everyone the strength of our dormitory. Fang Xiaoping said, Guojun is right. We have all participated in the military training camp before. We have a certain foundation in military quality. Later we will perform well. We must trample all the people in the 508 dormitory under our feet. After saying that, their momentum seemed to have improved a lot. Wang Haiqiang said, Don't worry, boss. Look at those ugly people in the 508 dormitory, especially that fat guy. With him they can't even stand in line. How can they beat us? Zhang Jiqiao said, That's right. Anyway, we will win the military training. While they were having a small meeting, Li Meiyu was looking at Qin Haodong thoughtfully. She felt that this man was more and more difficult to see through. He was like a mystery. She could see that Nailan Wushuang and Qi Wen'er were both proud and arrogant girls. How did this guy do it? How could these two beauties be so close to each other? In addition, Qin Haodong kept saying that he wanted to pursue her. But he didn't do anything other than letting her live in his house. He didn't show his love, didn't flatter her, and even his eyes were very clear. Although the two of them were inseparable, he was more like a bodyguard than a pursuer. What was this guy trying to do? Su Hui had been indifferent. She only cared about Qin Haodong's medical skills, and completely turned a blind eye to other things. Nailan Wushuang and Qi Wen'er had a faint smile on their delicate cheeks. All of this was arranged by the two of them, and now it seemed that the effect was good. Tian Buoguang and Ji Fubao surrounded Qin Haodong together, while Dai Hongbing watched with interest. Ji Fubao said, Boss, as long as you are willing to teach me how to pick up girls, I, Ji Fubao, will do anything to repay you. I will do anything you want me to do. Qin Haodong's performance just now had completely convinced him. If he could learn a little bit of this ability, he would be able to say goodbye to being single in the near future. Qin Haodong smiled and said, My secret is to be handsome. You can't learn that. I can, boss, I can. Tian Buoguang said flatteringly. Boss, although I am not as handsome as you, I still have some aptitude. You must train me well. Come on. Do you think you don't have enough girlfriends? I can't let you harm other girls. Tian Buoguang hurriedly said, Boss, although I have a lot of them here, the quality is not good. You can't set fire to the mountain and not allow me to light up a dark room. While they were talking and laughing, a loud and clear chant suddenly came from afar. 1, 2, 3, 4. This voice resounded through the clouds, instantly attracting the attention of all the teachers and students. At the entrance of the training ground, a team in military uniforms ran over. These soldiers walked in a uniform pace, and their momentum was like a rainbow. The instructors of the Special Forces of the Shanghai Military Region had finally arrived. They appeared in front of the freshmen of the Shanghai Medical College with a high attitude. After arriving at the rostrum, These instructors immediately dispersed and found the classes they needed to lead. The Chinese medicine practitioners class also gathered quickly. Soon, a tall and strong instructor appeared in front of them. My surname is Yen, and my name is Yen Feiyu. From now on, I will be your instructor. You can call me Instructor Yen. Yen Feiyu was in his early 20s. He was tall and straight, but his expression was rigid, and there was a trace of indifference in his eyes. It could be seen that he was a very difficult person to get along with. Hello, Instructor Yen. Instructor Yen is so handsome. Instructor Yen, how old are you this year? Do you know how to shoot? How many years have you been in the army? These students were full of curiosity about the special forces, so they immediately talked at once. Shut up, all of you, Yen Feiyu said with a cold expression. Look at you. From now on you are soldiers. No one is allowed to speak without my permission. Seeing that the instructor was so serious, the others immediately became nervous and shut their mouths. From now on, we are already in the state of military training. Brace yourselves, focus, and listen to my orders. The first part of the military training is to stand in a straight line. Everyone look to the right. After receiving Yen Feiyu's command, everyone quickly looked to the students on the right. However, most of these students were inexperienced, so the effect was not very good. Because of the conflict they had just had, when they stood in a line, Qin Haodong and the others from the 508 dormitory stood in the first row, while Feng Xiaoping and the others from the 510 dormitory stood in the second row. Feng Xiaoping and the others had participated in the military training camp activities during the holidays, so the military training looked good. However, the people from the 510 dormitory couldn't do it. They had no experience in military training, especially Zhifu Bao. He was several sizes bigger than the others. The width on the left and right, and the thickness on the front and back were large. Standing in the middle of the line, he looked very out of place. Yen Feiyu corrected him several times, but the first row still didn't look good. He couldn't help but lose patience. He stood in the front of the line and shouted, "That student, I'm talking to you. Can't you see that you stand out? Hurry up and look to the others." After that, he stepped into the line and reached out to pat Ji Fubao's stomach. "What are you looking at? I'm talking to you. You have no sense of community at all. You can't even stand in a line. What can you do?" Feng Xiaoping and the others stood in the last row with a smug sneer on their faces. Seeing that Ji Fubao was being trained, they only gloated. Ji Fubao hurriedly moved back and tried his best to look at Qin Haodong on the right. However, he was too fat. When he looked at Qin Haodong, his big butt stuck out. Yen Feiyu came to his side again and kicked him in the butt. "Everyone is standing in a line. Why are you sticking your butt out? It's because you can't stand in the line." Qin Haodong frowned slightly. This instructor was too harsh. Couldn't he see how fat Ji Fubao was? The instructor should teach according to the student's aptitude and judge the situation. If a fat person had to stand in the same line as the others, then the military training wouldn't be carried out, unless he was flattened. Ji Fubao's face was swollen. His face was red, but he still didn't say anything. He tried to lift his big butt and moved forward again. However, Yen Feiyu still didn't give up. He shouted at Ji Fubao again. "Are you a pig? If you move your butt back a little, your belly will come out again. Don't you have any sense of community? All the female students can stand in line. Why can't you?" After he said that, the other students around him couldn't help but laugh. Feng Xiaoping and the others laughed very happily. In their opinion, Ji Fubao being scolded was the happiest thing. Ji Fubao said, "Instructor, I've tried my best, but I'm too fat. There's nothing I can do." "Shut up. Did I let you talk?" Yen Feiyu said aggressively. "Is being fat a reason? Will the leaders consider whether you're fat when they check the line? You're stupid. Even if a pig is put here, it's better than you." He was scolding Ji Fubao when he suddenly heard a cold voice next to him. "Shut up. You don't deserve to be an instructor at all." This voice was not very loud, but it gave everyone present a fright. Who was this? He was so awesome that he dared to talk back to the instructor directly. Yen Feiyu was even more furious. This was not the first time he had been an instructor. He had taught students and regular soldiers, but no one had ever dared to tell him to shut up. He turned his head and saw a young student standing next to him looking at him coldly. There was no fear or concession in his eyes. He didn't expect that the instructor's dignity would be challenged on the first day of military training. He shouted sternly, "What did you just say? Didn't you hear me clearly?" "I said that you don't deserve to be an instructor at all." Qin Haodong took 2 steps forward and stepped out of the line. He looked straight at Yin Feiyu and said, "As an instructor, you don't teach the method, but only make demands. This is an improper teaching method. This is one of the disqualifications. We are all students who have just been exposed to military training. We are not soldiers who have been through hundreds of battles. As an instructor, you can't teach according to our abilities. This is the second disqualification. Last but not least, my classmate is fat. But so what? Is being fat a crime? Is being fat a mistake? Being fat is just a matter of the body. What right do you have to attack him personally? What right do you have to insult him again and again? You don't even have basic respect for the students, so I don't think you are qualified to be our instructor." His words were sonorous and forceful, resonating and reasonable, and immediately won the approval of most of the students. Ji Fubao looked at Qin Haodong, who stood up for him. His emotions were very complicated, and there was a faint mist in his eyes. Over the years, he had suffered too many insults because of his obesity. Even he was a little used to it. He had never thought that someone would stand up for him. But today someone had done it. This person was his brother. The dispute between the instructor and the students immediately attracted the attention of the people on the rostrum. The principal, Ho Wenbin, and Zhang Xiaoyan immediately ran over. Duan Bailian, the battalion commander of the special forces in Shanghai, also came with them. Seeing Qin Haodong, who was standing in front of the line and glaring at Yin Feiyu, Ho Wenbin couldn't help but have a headache. The boyfriend of the eldest daughter of the Zhou family was really a troublemaker. He had just been sent to the police station yesterday, and on the first day of military training, he directly fought with the instructor. Considering Qin Haodong's special identity, he didn't speak directly. At this time, Zhang Xiaoyan asked, "Qin Haodong, what's going on? Why are you arguing with the instructor?" Facing the teacher, the principal, and the battalion commander of the special forces, Qin Haodong's mood didn't change much. He said lightly, "He is not my instructor. I don't think he is qualified to be the instructor of our Chinese medicine class." Zhang Xiaoyan was stunned. She didn't expect Qin Haodong to say such a thing. After coming back to her senses, she said, "Qin Haodong, you have gone too far. As a student, how can you say that?" Apologize to the instructor quickly. To a large extent, she wanted to protect Qin Haodong. It was the first time in the history of military training in Shanghai Medical College that a student directly contradicted the instructor. He might be directly expelled by the school. However, Qin Haodong still didn't give in at all. He continued, "It's him who needs to apologize, not me. We don't need an instructor who doesn't know how to respect the students at all. I hope the school will revoke his qualification as an instructor." This, Zhang Xiaoyan turned to look at Su Hui and asked, "Tell me what happened here." "You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Sword of Destiny YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support. And don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.